Nice. Don't get too
Okay,
about
this
that.
is Dungeon World Sunday, Song of the Milk-White Putrescence, the fourth session of Song of the Milk-White Putrescence. We are for the four. Today is our finale. I want to just recap what happened last time and then just go over how I think the session is going to play out for the finale and put a couple of options on the table as far as like what we might want to try to hit and see where you guys are at with it. We always have the epilogue to take care of like any loose ends if you guys need it. So just remember that as well. So the last time you guys found the keeper, Jedrick was his name. I don't know if you ever learned his name, but he was Jedrick, Yedrick rather, keeper of the Milk-White Putrescence, and you hunted him, you slayed him. He was disseminating putrescence from his body to some people in Frostdale who were consuming it, and it's making them really smart, or at least like in this really specific ways, it's making them smart. And Yedrick was being attended by and assisted by the mage Isabella Vergestrider. After you guys made your attack on Yedrick, Isabella and the Frostdalers, they ran back down the hill. And so we kind of just pick up there with Isabella and Frostdale behind you and the temple in front of you. Your mission technically complete. There's nothing keeping you here unless you, I suppose you probably want to like investigate the actual source of the Milk-White Putrescence. That's a thing. And then you each have your own sort of a couple of like little individual things you might be trying to get done. But essentially, I don't think the church would, if you bring some evidence of you having slain this keeper, you're good to go, right? As far as getting paid. So, I will say that in terms of my prep, there are basically two things left. There is the temple, and there is still some business with Isabella that is not fully researched or investigated or anything. So those are the two big things I have hanging out in the air. The situation with the Lightcaller is resolved. You killed him. There's still the issue of the mayor and his letters. This is all side story stuff with Weary. If you want to do that this session, Weary, you can, or you can do it in epilogue. If you choose to do it in epilogue, I will probably just do a quick on-the-fly custom move to sort of resolve how it goes. Okay. Otherwise, so if you want to do that, we can. It's essentially kind of doing it like kind of off screen or whatever. So that's my feeling on everything. How do you guys feel about that? Does that all sound like reasonable stuff? Is there anything you can think of that you want to particularly try to explore or do? In that case, let's take a last quick look at flags. And take a look at your own flags and make a decision about whether you want to change any of them right now. Based off kind of what we know about the characters, having developed the characters a little bit more. If not, think about flags that maybe you'd like to see hit this time and just highlight that for the group so that we can be thinking about ways to have that interaction with you. I'm going to grab my DW book real quick. How's everyone feeling about flags?
I'm good. I think this session would be particularly good for letting me go into danger because we're going into a temple of danger probably.
Yes, yeah. We get a little bit of dungeon in our game about dungeon crawls, as it turns out. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other
I'll
specific
say
thoughts?
I've got that reveal a personal weakness, so I can dress it. And certainly, as we've gone on the sessions, I've pictured myself more and more as kind of the grizzled vet who wants to make sure that nobody gets killed here dumbly in the course of this. So that's sort of how I picture that, is trying to keep people from being,
Right.
we get along with the group. We're together as buddies now. We might hate each other later, but let's,
I think it might be fun to see, like, I'm kind of curious about the relationship between Isabella and Logan, and I'm curious, like, I'm curious about developing that relationship, and I'm curious if, like, maybe that could be part of, like, Logan's weakness, I don't know if that makes sense, Logan. Like, is something connected to Isabella? I haven't thought about it too much. I haven't thought about your guys' past. I was going to leave that to you almost entirely. It could just be collegial, in which case maybe it's no big deal. But if it was more, I think that would be also interesting.
I think that's interesting. Whenever the keeper was slain, I did take that plus forward to turning the key.
Oh yeah.
And I just rewrote one of my flags.
That'd be another good weakness too. Like,
yeah, I just rewrote one of my flags. Trust me, despite your better judgment when it comes to a magical mystery. And I think you can all see where I'm forecasting this going.
Yeah, it seems fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Isabella
that's why I made this move, so you guys could do this.
Yeah,
right?
Isabella was researching this, and she seemed to have good reason to research it. She wouldn't have done it just for no good reason. And I want to explore, why that might be and see where this goes.
We have the hate crystals too. The azure flame as well is another thing, because turning the key doesn't have to be about the milk white putrescence, right? I mean, technically, it could be about any key. So
yeah, but it seems so obvious. Like, why on God's green earth would I ever turn something that like is the gateway to hate?
Oh, I have a couple of things to highlight for you guys too. Sometimes it's easy to forget stuff like this because the action is so fast paced and fast moving. But you guys do have a couple of like unresolved things that I want to just point out to you. Oh, you got one of them. You got the scroll last time. Okay, so that's a thing. You still don't really understand the fundamental nature of Shadowfucker, but that that can be determined, though. It's not some great, deep mystery. The other thing is the ring that you guys took off of the first keeper that you slayed. Someone has that ring. I think it's Weary. I'm not sure. I would just tell you that ring has special properties. It's magical. So. Those are just a couple of little things that are kind of dangling in the air that may or may not have any impact at all on this particular adventure, but they might be something. But they might, and it might be something that you want to.
I'm still well aware that Weary wants to break Shadowfucker, and I'm all for that. And I promised him we would take care of that, so we're going to take care of that.
Indeed. All right. Any other thoughts on flags before we move on?
I changed 2 of my flags. And
okay, what do you got?
Yeah, the other one I've changed already last time. Point out a forbidden place is now also point out a forbidden thing, because there are hidden things around here, as it seems. So I can try to get my hands on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go this magical race to the bottom, the moral bottom, with Logan. And whoever wants to join. And the next one is let me explore your mind with my powers. Something like let me reveal a secret to me. But I think like if I'm allowed to go into somebody's mind, I would highly appreciate that. And that at the same time, I could fully understand if you don't want that. And the last one is help me learning about fear. That is something Weary and I had established in the first session. It's that I can't feel fear, and I want to learn about fear. And maybe a final session would have opportunities to learn about fear, about your fear, about my fear.
Is Brown Jenkins or whatever the little brown creature still on the table for a thing to be doing? Are we
the brown spirit of disobedience?
Yes.
Oh yes, you've encountered her already.
Very good. Yeah, there's this spirit going on. It's living up there, and it's waiting for us, as it seems. Yeah. And there's one flag, especially for the GM, by the way, which is I took in advance as soon as we get the rest. Before I don't, right? Time for an advance, right?
Oh, when did you advance? When did you get your last XP that you needed?
Between last and this session.
Okay, yeah, you'll have a bit of downtime. Well, it depends what you do straight from this scene, I guess. Basically, if you guys like go back to Frostdale, sure, you can advance. If you don't get to advance. So,
yeah. So
as stay out in the danger in the territory. Yeah.
Okay. As a son, I get this focus, like getting aligned with nature and so on, and I can spend the focus usually only to ask like what is about to happen. And now I also can ask who is really in control here.
Ah, good. Okay, awesome.
And I will ask for colorful creatures.
Awesome. So long as you you can take that as, I mean, as you guys can advance like as soon as whenever you guys decide to basically stop and rest or whatever. So
Yeah.
right. Dungeon was very old school in that way.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Right. So I would also be advancing if we would take a breather, which I suggest we do. And I was taking Enchanter, and I had forecast last session that I would be interested in making something for Archon.
Yeah.
Or no, not Archon, Kravis, because he had been so helpful.
I need to look at the text of Enchanter. I don't remember how it works.
I can read it for you if you like.
No, I got it. When you have time, place of power. This is a place. You're in a place of power, so that's good. Oh, okay. So you just kind of imbue a thing with magic. Okay, cool. Choose to unnecessary curse. Okay, awesome, cool. All right, so let's see here. Also, you know what though? You know what's kind of funny about that Enchanter thing though is, aren't you like expressly forbidden to like doing things that are like permanent?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, let me look at my spell focus.
For your spells, at least. Maybe it doesn't count for Enchanter, but like for your spells, like Stasis and Calm or anything solid or permanent is in opposition to you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I think that could be I think it's an interesting conflict. So, all right. So let's see here. So where would you guys head straight away? Like after you've just slain Yedric. What sort of evidence are you going to take from Yedric's body to bring back to the church, Kravis?
What's least likely to rot in my pack on the way home?
I think a head usually works just because they have certain like all these keepers were people who used to be members of the church, right? They're heretics now, so they do have ways of identifying them, and so the heads usually work okay, or some other kind of like if they have some kind of tattoo or something on their body.
I'll pull out my Templar fresh seal head storage Ziploc. Essentially, I imagine I have like an oilskin bag.
Do you have adventuring gear? Because you definitely do if you have adventuring gear.
Yeah, I have adventuring gear. No, I do not. I have manacles.
Maybe someone has an a bag, a sealable bag in their adventuring gear for you.
For sure.
I have like an extra one, yeah, so we can just do that.
Thanks, man.
So just a bag?
Yeah, I just want to put it in here, tie it up. We'll boil it when we get back to town or whatever.
I'll just delete it from my inventory, and then you can have that with you, because I think it's important that the head stays with you.
Okay, well, so you retrieve the head. It's nighttime at this point,
And I think I do want to kind of address Logan at this point. Once we kind of got this and say, Logan.
Yeah, I think I'm just like still like cleaning myself off a little bit. And I'm like, yes, Gravis.
All right, so that woman's someone you know?
Yes, she's from the order. Well, my order, I suppose.
Okay. Well, she didn't come after us hot. She didn't go heavy on us, so that's cool. Do you think we need to go to the temple first, or do we need to go and do you need to deal with her first?
I think it would be best if I had the opportunity to speak with her, because she's going to know more about what's inside there. And I would rather know than not know when encountering something. I can feel the magical nature of whatever's inside of there.
I would tell you out of character that splitting the party is perfectly acceptable here. There's no reason why you shouldn't do that. Like it makes sense for two of you,
I'll say,
to go one way.
Well, maybe Weary and I can go and break Shadow, whatever, fruit bag, the horrible sword somewhere, and you and Archon, who know the magics, can go and talk to this woman, because you guys went and talked to her in her little tea house and stuff.
Yes, the sword. I've been thinking about the sword. I have a thought about the sword. You see, we find ourselves right on the cusp of somewhere that is just flowing with power. And while it is usually beyond me to create something permanent, with the power of the sword, I could take its manifest permanence and destroy that to create something useful for you.
I turn to Weary. Your call, man.
So long as its essence is destroyed and it doesn't move to just like another object, I'm okay with that.
It shouldn't have anything to do with whatever's left here. It's the rest of it dissipates. I'm just taking the permanence from it. I'm not taking anything else.
Sounds like a good slow death.
All right, how about we rest, do that, and then we can choose our tactic after that. Once we maybe get some of these wounds licked and recovered. Are you okay with that, Archon?
Totally okay. My mind is still blown by what I've seen. I will tell you later.
Okay.
I have a pretty cool image in my head of us like also using the keeper's body as like sort of like trespassers beware for the temple, and then us.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like Luke and call him its body for warmth.
Oh,
No. That is definitely not the first thing that I come up with. I was thinking of more like erecting it like on a cross, like a holy symbol, and saying like beware, and then like burning it alive so the towns, or not alive, but burning it so that the townsfolk can see it from the village even, and being like, don't go there, right? Like temple of evil kind of thing.
So that you guys don't get jumped in the night or whatever.
Yeah, and so that those people that ran away were like, fucking didn't forget about you, assholes.
I think that's a good point.
That seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah.
The milky fluid.
We'll probably need a bucket or a shovel or something to get it all back in one place to burn it, but
might be one in a cabin.
Yeah.
Well, we can just like nail pieces of it to the cross or whatever and then burn it.
I've got manacles.
There you go. Or that.
So it sounds like, let's say you guys do that, and it sounds like we're going straight to make camp. Is that the idea here?
Yeah.
I like the idea of it like burning and then you doing your like wizard action with like the night sky going and like the fire coming off of this thing burning, and you're like enchanting stuff.
I hope so, yeah. Thing. However, like who wants to share a glass of milky white putrescence with me?
No. Don't drink that. No. Don't drink that. No,
yeah, no way.
That was a joke, right?
You're not seriously considering drinking that, are you?
Yeah.
Well, if nobody of you, I would prefer, honestly, if one of you drinks that and I simply follow your mind.
Okay. Well, we'll put that
Wherever
on
it goes.
the list later.
No, that's keeper juice. You're not drinking that. And I
I
say
take-
juice, but you know what I mean. You know, that's not good.
Yes.
Yeah,
I will take a
think-
bottle with me.
I think Weary is like
Okay.
his hood is up and you can't see his face because there's just blackness, but you see the head turn to the burning thing on the cross, like alluding to bad things happening with that.
Archon, you can have a bottle of putrescence so long as you have an adventuring gear to make a bottle with.
All right. Yes, I have.
There you go.
Yeah,
There we go.
if you want to take it and bottle it up and put a little seal on it, take it back, save it for later, have some nog when you get back. Once we're done with the mission, you at that point I have no control over you.
Yeah. We'll put you in a nice room with a lock.
Travis, I might tell you that you don't even have control about me right now.
Oh, believe me, I know that.
Mhm. Good.
But at least you have control of you and not some white putrescence.
Logan,
Well spoken.
I mean, this substance has control over you. Maybe if you don't know, but it does already. I can see that.
And I'm gonna put a pin in that.
Wait, what? Archon, did you just say to all of us that Logan is infected with this white putrescence?
Travis, you're always right, but sometimes you take things too literally.
I'd like a yes or a no.
He's figuratively into it.
Thank you, Weary. Yes.
Yes,
All
I
right.
suppose in some philosophical way, if you want to point out that all of us are on a mission here to stop the milk white putrescence, then yes, the milk white putrescence controls all of us.
Logan, I see your insecurity in your answer, and I accept that. But somehow you're right. Now let's get sleep.
Indeed. Consume a ration, please. If you do not have a ration, please let me know that.
We got some coin before, right, guys?
I was pretty sure that I started with a bunch of rations.
Yeah, we used a bunch of them before, but we looted that one thing that had a whole bunch of rations. So I'm sitting on 8 rations right now. Everyone can have one.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So says the quartermaster.
I just need one watch. If you guys are just resting enough to kind of like catch your breath and maybe get a couple hours of shut eye or whatever. I just need one watch. Whoever that person is, though, cannot heal. So just
I'll do it. That's my job.
All right.
Let me pull this up.
So
Everybody else will be conked out, having a little sleep.
is this getting rid of the condition that you gave us for the nasty putrescent stink?
Yes, you can rid yourself of that one, which I think is your
was-
con condition for everybody.
And that's wisdom, right?
Con.
You're going to erase your con, the con ability that you guys all took last time. As for taking watch, everybody else is going to just I'm going to just kind of speak or get this kind of going here. So everybody else is kind of just like catching a couple hours shut eye, while Kravis, like, where you kind of sit there in the light of Yendrik's burning body up on the hill. It gets a little cold though, so but unfortunately Yendrik makes, he's a big guy. He makes a lot of fuel, right? So that's a good thing.
There's probably a flashback because I've smelt that kind of smoke before a lot.
I'd love to know about that. Like, is there a story there with your order about like you got to like crucifying and burning bodies as a warning to others?
Well, I actually picture, since we'd already established the thing about, I mean, this is still off the, something that we're not going to get done here, but as a kind of flash to that elven saint that I was following. And there's probably a flashback to my very earliest days in the order, and that guy being the one who was the more vicious one, was the one who kind of dragged me down over to the vicious side, to the bad cop side of things. And, you know, me kind of standing there while he lights the pile of bodies, and I can still hear the screams from inside. And that kind of reminded me here, because that's part of the reason that I came, is that that guy was a murdering asshole. How can he be a saint now? That just can't, that he doesn't get the right to do that.
I like it. Oh, it's like it's purely on principle or something, right? Like you just want to take this guy out. I like it.
Yeah.
That's grim. I like it. Awesome. Let's do the move here. So when you're on watch and something approaches the camp and something is approaching the camp, roll plus wisdom.
6.
Mark an XP.
Hey, that gives me an advance. Good thing we're resting.
You are sitting there, thinking about this story, looking at Yedric's body, you know, sort of propped up and burning, and moonlight overhead, tall coniferous trees all around, the temple behind you. When you notice, I'm going to roll a die. Roll a d6 for me.
Can I make a suggestion too? What if during this, could Archon be exploring Lowell's mind, like Kravis's mind, as that vision stuff is happening and he's thinking about it? Because that'd be kind of cool.
Maybe as if in a dream. I'm into that.
Yeah, like dreaming what, like your daydream about that horrible stuff happening or something.
He did touch me in the very first session, and we never had a chance to pick that up. So I wouldn't mind if that was what he was picking up from that.
Yeah, I'd be into that.
Discomfort. Yeah. I rolled a 5 from a 1d6.
Thank you. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's going to be Archon. All right, you you notice a little too late. Archon is sleeping there with his mouth kind of agape, and maybe he's also like in your head a little bit right now. You don't know this is that a character knowledge, but maybe he's in your head a little bit, and which is why he can't react properly or he's not aware of it. But you see probably like a 2 or 3 inch long, a couple of like 2 or 3 inch long spider legs just going into his mouth as presumably the rest of the body went in, and is now. You see it bulging like in his neck as it like crawls down his gullet. What do you do?
I leap over and start choking him and shout for the other two to wake up.
Indeed.
Ringing the bells.
And their bells ringing across them.
Grab on so that the spider won't go any further. It will look to them like I'm choking Archon to death when they wake up.
Like, Weary, what? Why is he choking Ark? You know what? Maybe it's for the best.
Archon's in his brain again. Oh shit.
Kravis, give me a defy danger with dexterity to act quickly here.
Ooh, that is. Who's a dwarf? I'm a dwarf. Oh yeah. Let's roll with dwarf and dexterity.
What's so funny?
7.
7. So you're going to be able to stop the spider, and you're going to be able to get the spider out of Archon's throat, but it's going to be violent. It's going to hurt like hell. It's probably going to hurt Archon pretty bad. Make it real violent. What does this look like?
I imagine that there's the part where I have to get my one finger, big bony dwarf finger down and pull on his jaw and wrench it up. And I'm kind of like vice prying and then reach in and pull. And there's that bit where the spider's front pincers have got onto his tongue and I have to pull. And it's not like it pulls out comically. It's that when it comes out, it probably cuts along the center of that tongue there.
Just a second before you start, I intuitively share everything what's in my mind.
Oh!
Pain, where's you?
And at that point, I'm probably retching on the ground. If I feel the pain of this when this happens.
Nice.
Tasting the coppery blood mixed with spider venom in my mouth.
Gross.
Hey.
Roll your damage on Archon. No armor. Archon.
No armor.
Five.
Okay, so you take 5 points, Archon. But otherwise,
Archon, do I also take that damage?
I would say at least half of it.
Okay.
Oh, because of being flooded with
Yeah.
Instead, I think a debility is probably more appropriate. Maybe like stunned would be good.
Okay.
Oh yes.
What is that minus? What does that affect? Dex or?
Sure. Let me check. Stunned is int.
Int. Okay.
Yeah. Now just throw a blanket over the spider once he like drops it on the ground and start hitting it with my staff.
Yeah, you'll kill it easily, no problem. It's about the size of like a. It's about the size of like it's the body part is about the size of like a golf ball or something. So.
Can let's whip it into the flames of the burning body then?
To warn other spiders.
But also that.
Well, you will all probably.
Okay.
I want to go around the table. Like, so you all woke up in the middle of your sleep. You'll be able to level. You'll be able to heal. No big deal. But just in terms of like in the fiction, like how are you? I imagine you're probably not going to be able to fall back asleep. And I'd be curious, like what you're thinking about right now, just as you all sit there, either in silence or frustration or pain. What's going through everyone's head, Logan?
I'm wondering how a spider lives up here in the cold. Like, that's ridiculous.
You've heard the story about the corpse reaver spiders, though, right?
Yeah, so I'm kind of wondering if that's what it was. And if so, that's a problem. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. I'm also thinking about, like, I'm about to go down to the village, but I'm going to make something useful for Kravis. What could I make that would be helpful for him as he's going in there, like, without any knowledge of what's inside?
A tongue shield.
What about you, Weary?
I think to keep their minds off the pain, I bet pain from your tongue would be pretty terrible. So maybe I'm telling them a story about like why I was named Weary, and my master made me like stand on a sort of like, I imagine it's sort of like a ninja trial or whatever, where there's like the one log standing vertically up and there's like spikes all around me, and I have to like remain still on this spike balancing for like 24 hours or something like that. And then after I came off of it, they called me Weary because I barely made it or something, like I was swaying before I passed the test or something like that.
Is that the story you've always told, Weary, or is that
No,
just
that's
the
a
story you're
different one.
telling right now? Okay.
Yeah, that's just the story I'm telling right now. So if you want, you could believe a lie that I've told you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the stakes feel high enough there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Logan believes you.
Yeah.
The stakes. Nobody got my joke. All right, never mind. All
I
right, so-
got it. I laughed.
All right, Archon, what are you feeling?
I feel sorry for Weary because I know that he wanted to share that pain with Kravis and me. And he was not there. I would have loved to touch him as well, because I know how much he loves pain. Especially when the great creature of death has sent one of their servants to greet us for what is to come.
Okay.
Indeed.
Easy with the grim importance there. Okay. And maybe while I'm telling this story, I'm also like turning that ring around around in my hands or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I like that. If you're doing that, I will tell you that you'll notice as you're fiddling with the ring that the fire, Yedric's body that's on fire, like the fire's gotten a little low, but you'll notice that like it flares a little bit and maybe even like moves and changes a little bit as you fiddle with the ring.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll like experiment a little and like hold it up to the fire and then move it like left and right and like see what it does and stuff.
Yeah, it's more effective if you put it on, but yeah, it basically it's almost like a like in Minority Report, like when you reach out to the little
Oh.
hollow things and manipulate them. It's like that, but with fire. Like you can kind of like reach out and sort of shape the flame and move the flame around.
Well, that's cool. I'll definitely put that on.
Yeah, it's just a ring of fire control. Awesome. Kravis, what are you thinking about?
There's probably that bit where I'm cleaning myself up after this, and I still got that sort of throbbing pain in my mouth, and that feeling like something was in my throat, and stuff. And so that was kind of shitty that Archon fed that pain back to me, and so my sort of has kind of gone to, oh, okay, that's how it's going to be.
Indeed. Well, once you're all done resting, if everybody who has to level, have you leveled already? Or like, do we need to stop for that, or we could?
Oh, I haven't leveled yet. Yeah.
Okay, let's just take a quick like 2 minutes so you guys can level, like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm gonna get some coffee and then we'll come back. I just want to know what right now out of character, what is everybody going to be doing? Like who's going down to either the village or Isabella? Who's going to the temple? That's what I want to know.
I'd like to go to the temple for danger.
Okay, temple.
I go with Weary.
Okay, temple, to the temple. 2 in the temple. Cool. Logan, what about you?
I go with Logan.
I'm sorry, say that again, Logan. Didn't hear you.
Yeah, I think me and Archon are going to town.
Okay, so, all right, cool, perfect. Okay, well, let's just take like 3 minutes.
So Lowell, any thoughts on something that you might want that we might make real quick?
Let me think here. I think we'll get a sword. So to make a sword. So how does this work? What aspects do you need to define for that?
Well, it depends on how the roll goes. So when you have time and safety with an item in place of power, you may weave a spell to imbue it with magical power. Describe what kind of magic you want to imbue the item with, then roll plus intelligence on a 10 plus, 2 effects on a 7-9-1 effect. The effects are permanent, no unknown side effects, no weird limitation.
I think what I would like is, and this is kind of an echo of what the sword did, how it acted before, is I would like a blade that draws attention to itself. That, when I draw it out, people see it, people know it, and it becomes the center of their focus in some ways. Does that seem doable?
Yeah, that shouldn't be terribly difficult.
Because a lot of what I have is stuff about boosting other people and taking damage, tanking. So
Yeah.
One-man army. Cool.
So Jason, here's what those table tents look like. We've got the stuff on one side for people to write in who they played with and write their characters' names when they fold it, and then on the other side we've got plus one forward,
cool.
comic strip AP, and we've got the
I
other
love
stuff
that.
in the
Yeah.
blog and web addresses for all that.
Ooh,
What
what's
is that?
That's
What's that
really
for?
cool.
Essentially,
Conventions?
it's table tents that I've got printed up there on nice card stock,
Oh.
and at Games on Demand, I put them out on the tables so that
I
people
love
can use
that.
them to do stuff. Plus, it has back, and it got very nice response last year.
Yeah, I saw.
Let me. If you send me the file, or even I can even just like PayPal you some money or whatever. But the Patreon can totally buy a bunch of those, right? Like that's no big deal. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll see
The,
how it goes, and then we can do that definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw somebody on Twitter even just the other day said that those were awesome.
Cool.
Yeah,
because-
Phil Vecchione.
Yeah.
Which means they'll steal the idea because misdirect marks.
Well, and he said he would, so that was fair enough.
Yeah.
Copy it, so. Well, it's all done in love. So, all right, that's flattering. Garrett, are you with us? Okay.
Huh, he left and came back.
Yes, I am.
Oh, but
there he
no video. I guess.
Yes.
Say something.
video.
Say.
Yeah.
I can hear your bells.
I think you can hear me at the bells.
Yeah, the bells are ringing.
I can hear the bells. Da-da. Who knows what song that's from, or what musical that's from? Anybody know? Right. Okay.
Sound of
That's
Music? Oh.
No.
That's the default answer.
Yeah. Well, no, I can hear the bells is from Hairspray. All right. Okay. So let's go with the group going to the temple. I want to just get, in the interest of time, I just want to press forward on this stuff. So,
All right. Can I get them their enchanted item, or at least try to?
oh, you want to go do that first? I mean, well, if you're going to go all the way back to the town and then do that.
Well, no, I have to do it right here because I need a place of power.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can do that first then. That's
So
fine.
yeah, I would just do it, give it to them. Like the whole point of me doing this is so that they have something to protect them from what they don't know about inside there, while we go try and figure out what's inside there.
Do you know what's inside there?
and to break the sword.
Right,
I love
and to
it.
break the sword. Yeah,
Well, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. You have time. You have safety. You could have been doing this right during camp too, right?
yeah.
In a place of power, you may weave a spell to imbue it with magical power. All right, cool. What kind of magic do you want to imbue? What's the item, first of all, and then what kind of magic do you want to imbue in it?
Kravis, you have a sword, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm putting power into his sword.
Okay, what does it do?
The intended effect is that it will create. It will make him the most aggro thing in the area.
Okay, so it's like he can hold it up and it'll be like in terms of like what does it look like on screen? Like does it like make thunder noises or what? Like, what does it look like?
Yeah, I think like he draws it and like lightning like comes along the blade, and then like it makes a loud crashing sound like thunder would.
Okay, good. So like a total like charisma item. I'm into it. All right. Roll plus int.
Right. 11.
Cool. I wish it had gotten side effects because I was going to make it do random chain lightning, but random uncontrollable chain lightning. But you get to choose two.
No, it's permanent and it has no weird limitation. It might have unknown side effects.
Let's see. Describe what kind of magic you want. Roll plus int on a 10 plus. Well, you choose two of the three. So you're going to choose permanent and no unknown side or no weird limitation.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it might have an unknown side effect. Okay. Good. Yeah, I think that might be the case. I think it might just occasionally, at random, at my whim, just like do or like on a 6-, for example. I think it'll just do like chain lightning uncontrollably. I have a sweet ass custom move for chain lightning I've been doing since like 2013, so it's great. All right, I'm into it. You should name this sword. It should have a name. Magical things should have names. What's it called?
What has Shadowfucker become?
This is just some sword.
No,
right?
this is his sword. It's not Shadowfucker. Shadowfucker is now an unenchanted sword.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Let me think about that. Can I think about that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
All right. So let's go to the let's proceed to the temple then. So you guys go up the. Okay, go ahead.
I want to put Shadowfucker into the fire too. Then. Bitch should burn.
Would anyone object, or are you going to do this surreptitiously?
I mean, we do the ritual. Like it's probably real cool looking, like lightning coming down and striking Kravis's sword, and then like residing within the sword. And like you can tell that Shadowfucker like dissipates, like whatever allure it has. It just dissipates and seems mundane, and then Weary scampers off and sticks it in a fire like that's really going to hurt a sword. I don't know why, but it makes him feel better, so I'm not going to object.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if you look on a little picture board, just to remind you what the front of the temple looks like, you have these steps that are going up to this like sort of facade that's inset in the mountain, and then there's a pair of like double doors. They're about your height, maybe a little taller. They're probably like maybe 15 feet high doors, and they're actually swung open still from when they brought Yedric down, so you don't have to like worry about like just going into the temple. Like that's perfectly safe. So Weary and Kravis, what do you do?
And I got my shield out, and I'm like, okay, let me go first. I can take the hits more than your frame, so But if I go first, they'll never see me coming. You can't be missed, Kravis.
That's kind of the point, though.
Well, how about I go in first and situate myself, and then I'll be watching you from the shadows.
All right, if that's what you want to do, just be careful.
That's my middle name.
Weary, careful.
Exactly.
Are you going to tell that story someday?
Yeah, I want to hear that one.
Weary. Weary, I still wanted to ask you if you are fine with me following your mind.
Following? Don't you have to touch me for that?
Yes. Before we left the camp.
And it only lasts an hour, right?
It lasts an hour, but like for the temple, it's enough. Then we would still be on our way down.
Okay, sure. I guess that would be a good, cautious thing to do. If we get in trouble, then you guys will know.
Indeed, yeah, and because I know that the creature of disobedience is waiting there for me, I think it's not good if I go first, but I send somebody else, and this is you.
Keeping my eyes on Archon while he's doing this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I like Weary maybe being behind Kravis when he's like, "That's my middle name," and then you like look behind you and I'm God. Like a little campy movie again.
He's just in there. Boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I
I'm just-
see the whole time where you are looking at when you're looking at Travis' back.
Yeah. I'm like cross my arms and like look at Kravis before me and Archon leave, and I'm like, well, you know what this means. We have to figure out his last name too.
Yeah.
So if you look on the picture board, I've put a map of the little temple. This is all inside the mountain.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But I put a map there. This map came from Codex Starlight, in case anyone cares. It's a different temple, but I'm using it here. It's a nice, fine, classic temple shape.
Mm-hmm.
And as you step inside, the first thing you're going to see straight away is there are these 8 sort of like large. They're not really columns. They're more like just tall plinths. They have at the top of them little metal braziers with fires that are already lit because this was a sort of working place. So there you have these 8 fires, right? And each of these little plinths is done up in a very classic sort of style. It's like each of them represents a different saint of the mountain, right? Like the saints who like master the mountain, who help bring agriculture or foraging skills or whatever to the people of this mountain, saints who establish trade with the Lenormand men, that kind of thing, right? Each of these little plinths is sort of engraved with the image of one of these saints. The fire at the top in the brazier is meant to like represent their divine inspiration, right? Their illuminated minds, right? And the walls are kind of like both painted with frescoes and also carved in bas relief of like different images from these saints' lives, right? And that's kind of what you see, kind of what you would expect to see in this sort of like main room here. The way just to remind you guys, because we don't do dungeon crawls all the time, but the way I run them is if you do something like discern realities or check traps or something like that, it counts for basically every space you can see that's like up to the doors, basically. So like in this room, we've got the 3 doors, one to the north, one to the south, and then one straight ahead. And then and all the stuff in there, you can basically ask about anything within that space on one roll.
Okay.
So you go in, and Weary, what do you do?
I want to check for traps.
Okay, go for it. How are you doing it? What kinds of things are you particularly keeping your eyes open for?
I think I'm paying attention to like the architecture of the place and seeing if anything seems out of place that way, and also especially paying attention to anything that like if the braziers are particularly not casting light in a specific area, so that
Like
it's
if they're not
hiding
warm
something.
or they're not, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So if there's something's blocking the light or whatever, or not absorbing the light,
Yeah.
I'm into that. I love it. Roll plus your whatever it is, Dex, I guess.
I got a 5.
5. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. As you are poking around the space, looking around the space, you're going to notice up above. That the ceiling, which is quite vaulted, it probably goes up a good like 20-ish, 25 feet. You're going to notice that the ceiling is covered with a network of thick cobwebs, and
Of course.
there are intermittently placed throughout this network of cobwebs on the vaulted ceiling, there are bodies suspended in the webs, right?
Oh shit!
You're going to
Indiana
notice
Jones
that.
moment.
Indeed. As you're kind of going through, you're kind of seeing all of that, and I think that's it. Go ahead, mark an XP.
Okay. And I took for my advance, I took underdog. So if I'm outnumbered, then I have +1 armor.
Oh, very nice.
Looks like I might have done the trap expert one, but I was like, well, whatever.
Well, Kravis, I'm going to give you a go too before I cut to the other guys. What you go? I assume you go in right behind.
Yeah. So I mean, my first eye is casing the joint. You know, I've seen how when you burn these places down, you know how it becomes like an oven in here, and keeping that in mind. But more important to me is
mind the vents, right?
yeah, yeah. I want to look there, those 8 plinths, and I want to see if any of the particular saints, any of the 8, have been marked or disfigured or something that might tell us something about what's going on. So that's what I'm looking at, is seeing what kind of signs I can find from that.
Yeah, I'm into that. Go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll discern realities.
Okay, and that is int, right?
That's wisdom for you.
Wisdom. Good, because I don't have a debility on wisdom. Who marked Eeps? Right there. Yep, that's me. That's a 4.
All right. So, you're poking around the plinths and not having much luck with the plinths. You know, they're kind of like what you'd expect to see. Maybe you're tapping around trying to find out if there are any like you know, like any kind of secret, you know, hatches or anything like that, right? It's classic, you know, dungeon stuff, especially in my dungeons. Always check the plinths. And as you're kind of roaming around and you're doing all that, I think you guys are just kind of like spending a lot of time doing this, and you're also cognizant of these spider webs up there. You haven't seen any spiders yet. That's worth pointing out, just the bodies. But you're probably kind of just getting a little like, you know, there's nothing in here apart from that. Let's just like keep going. And I think you inadvertently put your hand on the doors straight ahead, like the 2 double doors straight ahead. You lean against it, or you inadvertently like touch it or whatever, Kravis. And where you see it first, as soon as Kravis like makes contact with that door, it's something you missed. There is like a glowing red glyph that appears on the doors, like just kind of a, and we're gonna cut away.
That's never good.
So, where do you guys head?
We are going to track down, or at least I was planning on tracking down Isabella, because I need to check in with her and try and get her back on the right path and figure out what's in this place.
Yeah, well, so her little cabin is not far from camp. So let's say you just go straight there. It's like probably early morning at this point, maybe like 5 or 6 in the morning. You get to the cabin. She does have a lantern lit. You can see the glow coming from the window as you approach. What do you do?
I'm going to knock on the door.
There's no answer.
I turn to Archon. I'm like, is she in there?
I'm sorry, I was just listening and watching what our friends up in the temple are seeing. And I hear some bells ringing again strong. Yes. And it's not going good for them, I have to say. So we should hurry up, Logan.
Well, can you tell if she's inside? Like, can you sense her in there?
I can't sense her in there because my mind is still with our friends. I don't want to lose the touch with them now. Just kick the door in the old-fashioned way.
Like wave him off and then like bang on the door louder, and I'm like, Isabella.
No answer.
Fine, then I will kick in the door.
Okay. The first thing you see is, just to echo something from our first session, the first thing you see is it looks like in a hurry she has thrown back the bearskin rug that was on her floor and flipped open a trapdoor that was set in the floor and hurried down below the cabin. It seems like she must have done this, like probably she just ran straight back to the cabin and went down into this trapdoor in her cabin, like after you guys made your attack on Yedrick. What do you do?
I'll hurry and go down, and like I'm like the entire time I'm like shouting her name.
Indeed. The trapdoor basically, there's like a ladder, and so you go down the ladder, and then the ladder goes to and the ladder only goes down a bit, maybe like 10 or 15 feet, and it goes to a little landing, which then leads to a sort of like roughly hewn stone staircase that spirals down deeper into the earth.
Oh wow, this is like really happening.
What do you do?
I'm with you, Logan.
Are
Don't
you Archon? I feel like you're not all here.
No, not exactly, but like I would say 20%.
That must be very reassuring.
Yeah.
I must have nipped from the milk white putrescence, so my mathematical mind is open as well.
Don't even joke about that. And I'll just proceed down.
It's dark. You can grab the lantern from up top if you want, though. But just
Yeah.
assuming you do that, you can head down with light. As you're going down, are you going quickly? Are you going slowly? And what are you doing? Are you just are you kind of what are you thinking about? What are you doing as you go down?
I'm going down carefully. I've quieted down because this seems like it's much more vast. It's much more immense than I anticipated. So I want to proceed with caution. But I'm thinking about what has Isabella gotten herself into?
Yeah. You get to the bottom of these roughly hewn stone steps. It goes down about maybe a good, I'd say like another good like 20, 30 feet. Let's say 30 or 40 feet. And it deposits you in a little alcove. And just outside that alcove, there is a passage about 10 by 10 square. And that passage has a way that goes left, a way that goes right. And if you'll kind of notice as you kind of like assess this little passage that the wall is quite low, to where like with a little hop, you can look over it and see that it's actually like a little maze. There's like a little stone, hewn from stone maze, like a garden maze, but like made of stone. And it's just a slightly taller wall. But by just scrambling up on the wall, you can look and see the rest of the maze, right? And there is on the walls, there is some text that's been kind of like carefully lettered with like a sort of silver paint or tincture of some sort. What do you do?
I think I scramble up on the wall and like try and get a look at the maze, and like probably before scrambling up, I look at the text. I'm just trying to figure out like why anyone would make a maze that's so easily traversed. Like you could just climb on the wall and then step from wall to wall to get across it.
Indeed.
Because you simply don't do, Logan. This is exactly how you also approach magic. You don't see the beauty of the things beneath.
And I'm just like,
So
I
would like to.
This isn't a child's plaything. This is something more sinister. Why would anyone make this?
Well, sinister things are child play things, aren't they? Well, at least where I come from. So, Logan, let me take a moment and look at this from the spiritual world. Are you okay with it?
You be doing
You want to take my hand?
No, I'm not taking your hand. No. You be doing that.
Just
and I'll be doing this.
Archon, you can give me a discern realities with the benefit of peering through the veil, and I'll take a spout lore or the equivalent of or a sort of we'll call it spout lore for these purposes from you, Logan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me get the die rolls on the table, then I'll cut back.
I have a 9.
A 9. Okay.
I have an
aid
11.
might be great there. I mean, if you don't want to do the DR, if you'd rather aid instead to bump him up to a 10 Archon, that's an option. We'll have that be an option on the table as well.
Yeah, I would do that. Yes. He needs my help, but if he wants my aid, he needs to touch my hand.
I think that's more me helping you.
Oh, yeah.
But you might get a sense that there is something that there is a certain logic to whatever this is, right, Logan? But there still is something like there is probably something just underneath the surface that you can't quite perceive. It could be helpful to have Archon's help in this instance, right?
Yeah. I need Archon's I need some kind of reassurance from him that he's not gone off the deep end and just gobbled all kinds of milk white putrescence and given into.
Make him show you the bottle.
I just need some reassurance before I'll take his hand.
Okay, you get my reassurance, and you get also my reassurance that I won't take the crystal of hate from you. Not today.
That wasn't even on the table.
It wasn't even on the table. I mean, I have even less trust for you now. What do you mean not today? We're taking these back. We're not gonna use these. What are you talking about?
You can't use crystals of hate. It's a god living in there. This language is completely tainted. Well, I have to tell you. But now look together with me into the spiritual world. You can trust me that I won't touch your secrets. I know them already anyway.
Roll plus wisdom on the aid. You can just keep your last wisdom roll if you had a wisdom roll on the table.
That was an 11. Yeah.
So that brings you up to a 10. I will tell you something interesting and I will tell you something useful.
And then you will also, if this is of an arcane nature, tell us a little known secret about the subject.
That's perfect. Here's the interesting thing. The writing on the wall tells the story of a man on a boat traveling through a vast silvery sea. The useful thing is, in order to navigate the maze, you have to follow the logic of the narrative. All right. So if you are trying to figure out whether to go left or whether to go right, then you would see what makes sense in the narrative, either the underlying themes of the story up to that point, or just your basic understanding of storytelling. And then you would know which direction to go. The arcane mystery bit is once you've successfully navigated the maze, it's going to deposit you in another plane of existence.
Well, then, I think Isabella has run quite far from this place.
And is there any hint
I want the fiction first. How do you figure all that out, Logan, considering the help that you got from Archon?
First time you saw a creature, a colorful creature, didn't you?
Did I see a colorful creature? Was that the question?
Yes. Yes, I think so.
I think that we stood up on the wall after having just read the inscription that we could see. We stood up on the wall and we joined hands, and I closed my eyes and I saw a little silvery boat navigate through the maze and then get to the end and disappear. And just putting it all together, that's the result that we got to, is what you described for us.
Okay, awesome, good. Excuse me. I'm going to cut back to the temple. The temple delvers. Oh boy, red glyph. Indeed. The 8 fires that are on top of each of these little plinths, they begin to they're about the size of they're initially about the size of like a softball or a basketball or something, right? They begin to swell. You both notice that these fires begin to swell to quite a large size, and they appear to be swelling and even roiling, they're about to explode. What do you do, Weary the Thief?
Shit. Okay. So what else is in this room?
Well, you got door to the
Yeah.
north, door to the south, and then high up you've got the spider web network.
Okay, I'm gonna use the ring to throw the fire into the spider web network.
Oh, interesting. Good. So give me to manipulate the fire. Since you've been kind of practicing it, you know how it works. Just give me a defy danger dexterity.
Okay. 2d6 plus 2. I got an 8.
Nice. I think you'll be able to get like some of these fireballs up there to like start burning the fire webs, and that's great. But I think a couple of them you're gonna have to cope with. Weary, you're gonna get hit by one just straight away because you're focused on controlling the others. Kravis, you'll be able to dodge yours. But basically, you've got just a huge like rolling fireball that like flies out at you, Weary. You see it, Kravis. You see it hit Weary first. Weary's like the fireballs are flying up and hitting these spider webs and burning whatever's up there. That's all awesome. Then you see one that Weary doesn't have control over fly right at Weary, and it fucking explodes just in a huge ball of fire, just pow! And you take a 2d6 damage, no armor.
Okay.
Deja vu.
And now there's another one coming at you, Kravis. What do you do?
4. Haha, my shitty rolling helped.
Well, I can't run very far because I am a dwarf. So I'm going to try and throw my weight against these double doors to try and smash and roll into that room to get to cover.
I love it. Give me a strength.
Okay.
Danger strength.
And that is that. Okay. Pull that up. How about a 5?
The dice.
Oh.
You get hit by a fireball. Take 2d6 damage, no armor.
Okay.
Can I also, I think like when I get hit by the fireball, curiously, I'm like silent but in my head, like the camera cuts to like an image of like me screaming in my head, but I send it to Argon to pay him back for it. Like, you want him paid? Here you go.
Woohoo!
And also, David's note is relevant here. Don't forget to mark XP on these fails. There are a lot of fails on the table.
But not for rolling damage, right?
No. Well, no. But like yours was. I'm just saying for Kravis because you got a miss on that roll.
Yeah.
All right. But otherwise, like once that little chaos is over, the fires on the plinths just go back to a normal size. Like this was just a one fire and forget kind of trap. So I'm full of puns today.
Yeah, apparently.
So you're kind of putting yourselves out, you're putting your clothes, slapping your clothes, putting the fire out on your clothes and that kind of thing. And your beard is probably a little singed, right, Kravis? We can't hear you. And the spider webs burning up top. One of the bodies that was suspended up there falls down. It just falls and like splats on the ground, like on the stone, just like and just kind of explodes. And there's kind of pinned underneath the body, there's like a large spider like trying to crawl out of the stomach. It's vulnerable. It can't move, and it's about the size of a small dog. What do you do, Weary?
I shoot it with an arrow.
Okay, yeah, you can shoot it and kill it, no problem. But then, these bodies have spiders inside of them. So.
Hey, can I figure out what kind of spider this is and stuff then?
Maybe. Give me spell lore, see what you know about them.
Spell lore is int?
Int, yep.
Okay, I've got a debility on that, which is stunned or something, right?
I think you may, yeah. You have, you're stunned right now.
Yep. So I'm at a -1 because it's 0 normally.
It's -1, whatever. -1 from whatever you were.
So 8.
Okay. I'll tell you something interesting. These are corpse reaver spiders. You may have heard Logan mention them previously in the travels, or you might know some other way. How do you know?
Yeah, I like the idea of like us on our journey to Frostdale. Was it? Maybe he told a story about it in the campfire, so it was like dramatic irony for the movie that they show up now, kind of thing.
It's a total Chekhov's gun, right? I mean, if someone
Yeah.
talks about corpse reaving spiders at Make Camp, that corpse reaving spider better show up in the temple later, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Everyone in the audience is like, "Oh yeah." Yeah, so Weary just like looks at Kravis, and I'm like, corpse weavers, and I like kind of whisper
Reavers,
it.
Reavers,
Or Reavers, yeah.
R-E-A-V, yeah.
Yeah, Kravis is like Reavers, actually.
Actually.
Yeah.
Well, actually.
Yeah, so I guess we'll try to navigate.
No. Here's what's
No?
happening. I go,
Okay.
we are leaving.
Oh, okay.
Go and I move to you and I go, this is not a thing that we should be effing with without the others with us.
Well, Archon did feel our pain.
Unless you want to pickpocket a spider, let's get going.
In his attempt to like break through the next set of doors to escape the fireball, he did manage to bust the doors open, and those doors are and the trap was sprung, and you look inside, and straight ahead you can see in the ambient light of the light from the plinth's weary, you see what is like the main sept of the temple. There's an altar, there's some other little things.
And we're here to turn the key, right?
Wait, what? No. No, not that.
I think we are, Kravis.
What? What are you talking about? Did you drink the milk?
No.
Well, maybe he's talking to Archon.
Yeah.
It's true. Archon's in your head. Archon's like, go do it.
Well, but
We
so
can
why?
learn from your mistakes when we come later.
We're
So-
here to check things out. If you,
Kravis is like having a hernia.
I'm just like, dude, if you think we should go in there and check that out, my gut says we ought to pull back, because if more of these spiders come down, that's not good for either of us.
But if we wait, won't they for sure come down? Maybe time is of the essence.
Weary. Travis is always right, but his gut is always wrong.
Oh, Archon's talking to, isn't he?
Yeah, I have like a glassy-eyed look when
God.
I'm paying attention to Archon.
Come on,
Yeah.
get with it. All right, Weary. I tell you what, I'm gonna go with you. You Sewer. I'll
Go
I will
head first
back
into
you up.
danger.
I will back you up, sir.
Okay, so I go first into danger.
And I back him up. And I am also, if he has to do anything, I am giving him aid by going, but realize that if you fuck this up, I am never going to let you forget it.
I'm wary of your threats. But yeah, I think it's plausible though, right? If we wait, then the spiders will for sure come down and start nesting or whatever, hunting or something.
You made an argument I could buy.
So if you step inside this next into the main sept of the temple, you'll see
Mhm.
4 more of those like saint plinths with the flames lit, and you'll also see straight ahead what appears to be a set of stairs that go down. That almost certainly goes down into some kind of crypts. That would be a typical temple sort of layout. And then just beyond that, as we see on the picture here, there is a set of steps that go up to a sort of like raised platform upon which is the sort of main altar of this temple space. And up on the altar, which is like just a stone slab table, on the altar, you see what appears to be like a shallow bowl, like a shallow clay bowl.
Mhm.
What do you do?
I think I'm going to check for traps, and I think I have like a little, like maybe rock that's been sanded so that it's round. And for checking for traps, what I do is I roll it along the ground so that it might like set the trap first or whatever.
Awesome. Go ahead and roll dex or roll that.
Let's see. Don't fail me now. 11. I'm real good.
Okay, cool. Go ahead and you can ask me all the questions now if you want, and I'm gonna cut away.
Okay, it's gonna be.
So close to interfere.
Is there a trap here, and if so, what activates it?
There's no per se trap, but if you look up, you'll see there's more spider webs and bodies. So.
Okay. What else is hidden here?
That's an interesting question. As you search the area, you'll see that there's something dripping into that bowl. It's occasional. It's only about every, I don't know, like depending on how long you spend in there. If you pay attention long enough, you'll notice it's about every 5 to 10 minutes. A little drop comes from up above and plunks down into this bowl.
From the same area of the spider action?
So right above, so it's this, the network of cobwebs kind of ends in the space right above the altar. The space right above the altar, and really kind of, if we're looking at the picture, it's really kind of right above this whole kind of just beyond the last two plinths. That whole sort of bowed area on the map does not have any spider webs. It's just empty ceiling.
Okay.
But there is something up there, it seems, that is dripping this something into this bowl.
Okay. And then do I need to even ask the third one then? What does the trap do when activated?
So I will kind of interpret that to mean as long as you don't fuck with the spider webs up there, you're not you should be okay. They're not going to bother you. So.
Okay.
And you don't even see the spiders. That's worth pointing out.
Right. Okay.
But you do see some bodies. They're probably in the bodies. So.
Right. More corpse reavers.
Indeed. I'm going to cut back to the other group. So what do you guys do with this information?
I'm curious if Archon digs around in my mind a little bit while I let him have this moment of vulnerability with me.
I would love to, but then again, I made a promise, and so I will poke into you and see if you give in or if you don't. And it's more a careful touch.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm aware. I think that I'm just engrossed with this magical mystery, and if you want to dig around a little bit, you probably can.
Mm-hmm. I would. Is there something I discover, something which might be of interest for me?
Well, what are you interested in? Just pain? Is it pain and fear? Those are the only two things that you're interested in?
Yeah, the greatest fear you ever had in your life. That's the one I'm most interested in.
Yeah, if you want to, if you're prodding around and looking for that, you'll stumble upon a memory of myself in a storm cloud. I am flying, flipping around, completely out of control. Lightning is all around me, and it's complete chaos. There is no hope for me. I am just buffeted in the wind. But then, walking calmly through the air comes Isabella, and she plucks me out of the storm.
And the fear comes from being plucked off or being in the storm?
No, the fear was being out of control in the storm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I had lost control of my magic, and I needed another mage to come and help me. And Isabella was that mage.
So we are so close to bring you back to your most painful memory. Very good. So let's go down and step into this boat, into this silver boat of the creature of Enigma has sent us.
I think that you attribute all kinds of things to creatures, Archon. I'm completely unaware that you have just accessed an incredibly vulnerable moment from my life. And I'm very puffed up. My robes are still billowing, but I'll hop down from the wall and proceed to engage with the maze in the way that we have figured out that it works. I'm not seeing a boat anymore. Yeah. I'm definitely going to try and navigate.
The way we navigate the maze successfully is each of us just tells a short bit of narrative from this person in their boat and their journey across a vast silvery sea, a vast endless silvery sea. That's very important. During the narrative, this person encounters people, creatures, concepts, and that's what we know. And the first person to go says their little bit about how the journey goes, and the next person's bit must logically follow from whatever the previous person said. Once all 5 of us have given our bit of the narrative, you will have successfully navigated the maze, and may do so at your leisure after that. So let's take a quick break, and we'll come back.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to begin our narrative. There's a man, a traveler, in a small boat on a vast silvery sea. And he's traveling for some time. And he is presented with 3 options on the horizon. He sees 3 islands. and he doesn't know which island he should navigate to. But he is joined at a certain point by a being that comes up out of the silvery water, who tells him what he'll find on each island. One island is a place of love, one island is a place of loss and confusion, and one island is a place of pain. That's the beginning of the narrative. Whoever wants to go next.
So the traveler decides, thinks about it hard, and he realizes that he needs to go, because this is a journey, to the island of pain. The island of love is an ending place. He's traveling further than that. Loss and confusion, he knows that that is a whirlpool that will draw him in, and he may never get out of that. But he has to pass through the island of pain to make his way. He has to be tested. He has to learn there to be able to go on this journey, to be able to make it matter. And so he sails the boat forward to the island of pain. And when he gets there, it appears normal, like a tropical island. It has no obvious signs of what it is as the island of pain, but he will get offshore knowing that there's something he needs to learn here to be able to journey on.
Very good. Next part of the narrative.
The traveler proceeds deep into the jungle, where just every step that he takes, barefooted, every move that he makes through the jungle in loincloth is pain. There are brambles, there are sharp leaves, and there is thick vegetation, and he does not have anything to protect himself from. And he thinks to himself, this must be what was meant. This must be the pain. So he returns to his little boat, his little coracle, and continues on his journey back out into the ocean. He's still scraped and bloody from the island, and the sea spray, the salty sea spray, stings in his cuts. And he thinks to himself, yes, I can endure this. Yes, I can do this journey. And then he sees on the horizon a storm. And the storm may be too much for his little coracle. He doesn't know. But he either has the option of going through the storm or banking back to the right through to the island of loss and confusion to weather it.
All right, who's next?
When he reaches the island of lost and confusion, he is surprised to find his own traces in the sand. He follows his traces into the jungle, experiences his pain from the island of pain. It hurts. He still feels the blood running down his legs. He doesn't know if he can bear the pain any longer, and is highly confused that he is not on the island of lost and confusion. And at that moment he realizes possibly this is how the island of lost and confusion looks like. And he thinks he should have traveled to the island of love first, because now being lost in confusion, will he ever find his way back to his boat? Will he ever find love?
So this is the end then, right? No?
No, there'll be one more. I'm going to do one more bit after whatever you say.
Okay.
It can be the end though. Mine's just kind of a coda. It's fine.
Okay. I was thinking that it would be interesting. Like, what are the ingredients that we had to have in this again? Do we have all the ingredients already?
You just have to, the story just has to flow from whatever you've heard before.
Okay. So I think the man makes his way, like stumbling to a river with the blood pouring down, and him realizing that he should have gone to the island of love first. And then he steps in a stream and becomes what he always was, the water, and then flows out of this place and rejoins the ocean, not belonging in the realm of man at all.
Nice. And as you reach, this is at this point, Archon and Logan, you have been walking through the maze, navigating the maze, recreating this story, following the twists and turns, right, as the story is progressing. And as you reach the end of the maze, you will see inscribed on the wall, it will say, "I am Vicente Verga Strider no more. I am now a part of the vast silvery expanse. And so are you."
I'm not Archon Megalon anymore. I'm no part of the silver ocean we just crossed.
And also, the end of the maze puts you right back at the beginning.
Logan, are you still there? Or have you?
Can you still reach?
Mm-hmm. I
Can
can
you
still reach into you.
You can still reach Weary?
I think I've lost contact.
That's a little, that's dim to none at this point.
Yeah. Time is over.
If we have traversed this correctly, then we should be in a new place.
You can go back up the stone steps and see.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Let's do so.
Let's cut away. Okay, well, so you are both in the main sept of the temple here. You're on the altar. There's the altar. There's this bowl. There's something dripping from up above. Kravis? What's your next move?
I've seen that Weary has checked out the place for traps. He's pointed to the spiders and made the sort of the gesture to say they're not moving. Then I will move carefully up to the steps that lead up to this dais and move myself up. I don't close the distance to that bowl. I want to get up those steps, and I'm looking around. I want to make sure there's nothing untoward there. My assumption is that there is something up there that is part of the key, and that's
awesome.
what I need to identify.
Roll discern realities.
Okay. And that is wisdom as well?
Wisdom.
Okay. I like wisdom. Wisdom does not like me. So that's a 5.
It's a massive XP haul here. Yeah. Let me check my notes. At this point, as you are kind of skulking around, you're looking up, right? You said you were looking up to see like where that dripping may be coming from. You can't tell where it's coming from. In fact, if you watch it long enough, you'll see that like this little drop of liquid seems to just materialize out of nowhere and just falls into the bowl. Plunk. And then you'll also see that within this network of webs and bodies, you'll start to see that like the bodies are beginning to split open at the belly. There's probably about a dozen of them. And the spiders are beginning to come out, to crawl out of the bodies onto the cobwebs. Mark an XP if you didn't already.
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys do?
Weary. We're either gonna have to fall back to the crypt or try and make a run across. Unless you got some more of that more fireball amazement.
Well, I don't know if the fire from the braziers would be big enough to do anything, really, right? Would it? Like they seem like they're just tiny little fires above them, right?
Yeah. You had the benefit of like the trap, right? Before, so it might be. It's not within the realm of possibility. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It might not be super easy.
Crypt or head back.
Well, we're here now. It's only going to get worse.
I'd like a yes or a no. You know, why can't any of you guys give me a straight freaking answer?
We'll go forward, Travis.
Okay, then.
Besides, I think we're learning a lot.
To the crypts,
I know I am. Then I'm gonna have Weary go first down into the crypt so I can hold the stairs if these spiders come and essentially serve as a bastion.
And I guess we can't get that dripping stuff too, then, right?
If you want to go grab that bowl, you can, and there's nothing to stop you.
Do you really want to be fighting with that sloshing around? A big punch bowl of ick?
That's true. Yeah, I guess we'll just go. It makes no sense to go there.
You know, it's going to attract Archon eventually like a flies to honey, so we'll be here eventually.
It's true. Icar is around. Archon is around.
So it seems like, Kravis, as you guys are moving down the steps into the crypt, it seems like the spiders are just like on alert, right? Like they've come out of the bodies and they're kind of like just patrolling the ceiling. Okay. They're not coming down aggressively yet. So,
all right, everybody be chill. Okay.
So if you go down to the crypts, you should be okay, right? They probably won't follow you because they
absolutely. It's gonna be no problems down in the crypt.
Indeed. Well, so let's talk about the crypts for a minute. You go down to the crypts. It's not a huge space, if I'm being honest. It's probably about this like the size of like a particularly large like living room or something, right? Like there is. I don't have a map of it, but I'll just describe it for you. If you've ever played Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, for example, you know how they have like those underground crypts with the like they're almost like little bunk bed like slots in the stone where bodies are kind of like laid out and stacked up. It's like that. On either side, you've got just like slots in the wall about 4 high of just bodies laying in repose, like in various states of decay, mostly very highly decayed to dust is what the spectrum is. And you see that to the left and to the right. And then in the center of this space, the ceiling is about just 10 feet high. In the center of this space, there are 3 columns, and in the columns are like urns, like brass urns set in the columns, rusted and dusty. But so that's kind of what you see at a glance. And I'm going to cut away to the other group while you guys are taking that scene in. So, you guys go up the stone steps, yeah?
Uh-huh.
When you go up to the stone steps, they do not lead into a cabin or anything. They just lead out into the open air. And as you climb the steps up out of the earth, you see that you are in a space that looks vaguely similar to what the wilderness was like when you entered, except there aren't really any trees and there's not much like grass cover, but it kind of still vaguely looks like it. But the more important thing is all around you is just silvery sky. And if you look up, if you look down, you'll see that there are little floating islands, pockets of terrain and earth as far as the eye can see here and there, a floating archipelago of little islands within this vast silvery expanse, and you're just on one of them. And the trail goes up, and the temple is right where you expect to find it. There's not a mountain. It's just the temple, but you recognize, but the front looks the same, so you know it's the same temple, but it's like just the structure of the temple, as if you were like to remove it from the mountain. It's like that, right? Sort of domed, kind of like domed. You can see a couple of spaces where the steps would be, that kind of thing. What do you guys think?
Logan, brother of the Silver Ocean. I feel like nearly blind. I can't see anything here. No creatures, no spiritual realm. I need your help to find my way in this world.
And like sensing his like discomfort, I just point forward. I'm like, the good thing about this realm is it seems like there's only one obvious path. And I start to walk towards the temple.
That's true. If you look the other direction, it just goes off a cliff face drops off into the vast silvery nothingness.
Thank you, Logan, brother of the Silver Ocean.
You're entirely you're entirely too sentimental, Archon.
Indeed. So you guys are going to head up the path of the temple?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. You make your way up. The front doors are flung open, much like they were when Yedric came out. Who goes in first?
I'll go in first.
Yeah, not me. No.
You see, it's basically as I've described it for Fraser and Lowell. You see these plinths, except they're not lit with flame. You just see these like plinths of these saints. Up above, you see like a few strands of what appear to be like, we would perceive them as to be like kind of neon like tubes or like wire, right? A few strands of like sort of glowing, sort of pinkish neon wire, like up above in the ceiling above. And that appears to like stretch down and go like into the wall and into the gaps into whatever the next room is. What would be the main sept? Do you guys proceed forward?
Is the main sept open? Or does it have a double door?
Doors of the main sept are open, yes. They look like it's been smashed open, in fact.
Yeah, I'll just be continuing.
I would like, Logan, I would like to connect again with the spiritual world. I won't find anything, but maybe I get back my focus. But
Indeed.
I would need your help for that, because I'm blind here. Can you explore the magical world for me around us?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going into the main sept. Like, I gotta see what's in there. Like, obviously, that's the source of whatever's magical in here, and we need to see what it is.
Send your winds for me. That will help me to reconnect.
Indeed. Just out of character, Garrett, what are you hoping to happen here?
Maybe you can do a discern reality for us.
Oh, I see. So you're using him as a conduit to like kind of peer through the veil, so to speak, I guess, to see what you see.
So to guess,
Okay.
yeah. And we get a trigger for discern reality for Logan.
I think that seems logical. It could be a discern realities with aid if you need it.
Okay. I have an 8.
Aid won't matter, but we'll keep it. We'll keep it in the fiction there. As you kind of step through, I'll tell you what you see at a glance. You don't get very far before you may decide not to keep walking. As you step through the threshold, you see a thicker network of these glowing pink wires, strings, whatever they are up above in the ceiling, right? They even cast a glow down below. And you see here and there are about a dozen what look to be just like vague blob-shaped points of like sort of bluish light. And this bluish light appears to be traveling along this pink network into the thing that you notice straight away before you notice all that stuff. There is a large, and I mean large, massive brown spider roosting on the upside down, clinging to the ceiling of the temple. And when I say large, I mean it. Like the body is probably the size of like a small house. Okay, and then the legs are like trees, right? Like, and it's just there. And these like pink wires or threads are kind of like piercing all over its body. And this like blue energy is just kind of slowly flowing into this big, massive brown spider. You can ask a question from Discern Realities now if you'd like.
Yeah. What should I be on the lookout for?
You should be on the lookout for you're going to notice let me think how I want to phrase this.
Hold on.
It's a good question. I just
Do
need to
the-
figure out how I want to phrase it.
Well, I was just thinking, does a bag of books help with discern realities or spout lore?
Spout lore.
Okay.
So I will tell you that apart from possibly this, well, apart from this giant brown spider, there's nothing else in the room that's of any danger to you. Okay. It's just the two of you and that big, huge spider.
Okay. We came here looking for Isabella. Nowhere, nothing, no evidence.
Not immediately, not in this immediate vicinity.
I feel much better now. I can see that it is her realm.
You do see the steps that go down into the crypt as well. I'll point that out.
Yes. So I spend one of my focus to ask, what is about to happen?
If you proceed deeper into the main sept, you will have to confront. You will have to converse with this spider. The spider will try to make contact with you.
That's good. That's why we are here.
So down in the crypts, what do you guys do?
I am going to brace myself in that doorway. And I'm looking back out, and I'm watching for movement of the spiders, trusting that Weary can check this room, and essentially getting myself braced and set and waiting.
Okay, Weary, what do you do?
Yeah, I'll make sure the room is clear. Maybe check for traps, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. How are you doing it? What are you keeping your eyes open for?
It's a crypt. Maybe I'm on the lookout for shambling corpses.
Or the possibility of shambling corpses. Yeah.
Spiders.
Yeah. Just, I think in a crypt, probably signs of that anything has been disturbed at all in it, because it probably should be settled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the dust. The dust would be like settled, right? Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and roll it.
6.
Aid from
Yes, that is what I do. Because that is my specialty, is being obnoxious to him to give him a bonus.
Okay, well, how do you do that?
I'm going, let me just tell you, we are trapped in here. There's no way out. So you better make sure, damn sure, that there's nothing bad in here. You got me?
Yeah. I like the idea of me like checking for like the dust not being disturbed, and you're like, check the dust.
Check the dust. Check the dust.
Yeah.
Check the dust. I want you to be able to tell me you triple checked the dust.
Yeah.
Indeed. So what's mechanically what does he got?
Well, I rolled an 11 then because I get a plus
So
3
7.
on that roll.
Oh, plus 3. Wow. So 9.
Because that's my it's not them you should be afraid of bonus.
I will break your legs if you don't check this properly.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
If something
good.
attacks us and you haven't warned us, I will kill you first.
Yeah.
So that bumps you up to a 7. So what do you want to ask?
It bumps me up to a 9, right?
Oh, no. Okay. Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
just a plus. He gets a plus 1. I just got a plus 3 on my roll to
He
do
gets
that.
a plus 3 on the 8. It bumps you up to a plus. It gives you a
Yeah.
plus 1. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll ask if there are traps here. Yeah,
No. There's no traps.
no traps. I said we're all good, and you see like a little bit of like a bead of sweat coming down the the forehead of Weary as we make our way through, I guess.
Is there a secret door or an exit from this place? Maybe. So we
I
don't
didn't check for that. I just checked for the dust. I triple checked the
You can do it at the DR. You can do DR now if you want.
dust. Sure.
Now that you're able to safely poke around, you can do a DR.
And that's the stunned one, right?
That's wisdom, whatever your wisdom is.
Oh, wisdom. Okay, I'm not stunned on that one, but I'm not great at it either. 6.
Would you like to continue your encouragement?
Yes, I would continue my rant.
Is it going to get violent? Is it going to become a threat of violence? I feel like that's key.
I'd probably go, hey, I still got that sword. It used to be Shadowfucker. It's in my thing. It's probably not. Doesn't want to hunt you anymore. We can find out.
Fuck you, Shadow.
Storm calling is getting hungry.
So yeah, I rolled a total of a 12, so I give him another plus 1.
Okay, you get one question on DR. What do you got?
DR. I just have the character sheets open. What are those ones?
What should I be on the lookout for? What here is useful or valuable to me? Who's really in control here? What's about to happen?
What's about to happen? For sure.
Honestly, nothing. There's nothing. The crypt is not. There are no dangers. There are no. It's just a bunch of dead bodies slotted into the walls, and then some urns. So,
These are this is the teasing room of the dungeon.
and as far as the spiders go, as long as you don't do anything super crazy, you can probably just sneak out of the temple entirely if you wish. Otherwise, you have the run of this crypt if you want to toss it or whatever. if you want to go ahead and just disturb these bodies or whatever, which is fine by me.
Mm-hmm. I think I look around for any of the secret rooms or whatever, and then the camera pans back to Weary and he's ransacking bodies. Travis is like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "We're all clear.
They're not
Just
in their pockets.
Don't bug the spiders. This one's got gold," and I like.
Yeah, if you ransack the bodies, I'll square up with you later what you find as you're going through all of that. I will tell you one thing that you'll find though of interest. You'll notice that they each have little plaques, next to their names, and they appear to be different priests. They have priestly titles and things like that. There is one name that will stick out to you. And one of the names that sticks out to you is, I've typed it in earlier, Vicente Vergastrider. You will see that.
I am going to say, as he's ransacking the bodies, you realize that this is not an evil temple. This is a temple of my church that people have taken over, and that those are priests of my faith that you are sticking your hands in their pants.
Well, why are spiders around for such in a good temple? Only a bad temple would have spiders.
Only a bad temple.
I love Weary's logic.
Where were
clearly
you?
must be a magnet
Where
for
were you
evil.
raised? For oh my god! Get the stuff and we got two choices. Then we can either go and check out the basin, or we can just move out and try and get the other guys.
I don't know. What do you want to do? Do you want to check out the basin? I bet you do.
I kind of want to check out the basin.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do that.
We got to make sure we're both very quiet and don't draw attention to ourselves.
That will be the key.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty good at, not drawing attention to ourselves so far. So what could go wrong? Yeah. Just make sure your armor's not so clanky. It will be fine.
I don't have clanky armor. I have a lovely Inquisitor top coat, long coat.
There you go.
Let's cut back to the other dimension. So, because you're all technically kind of in the same place now in a certain way. Okay, well, so you see this great big spider. You can't kill it. It's beyond your ability to like destroy it. It's too big. It's too whatever, right? Maybe if you had some really great plan, maybe, but just the two of you, I think it'd be hard. You'd be hard pressed. So what do you do?
This is the brown creature of disobedience. Logan, you can see it as well, right?
Yep. I'm not saying you're just calling out the biggest, brownest thing around as the brown creature of disobedience, but you might be right.
Mm.
It is large, it is
hope.
brown.
It
What
is,
about
yes.
what about the disobedience part?
This is how we in our dimension call these creatures. In this dimension, it can have a totally different meaning. Whatever meaning means here. But anyway, there's something we should be very aware of. We also have a creature with us. The azure creature of hate is in the crystals in your bag. I learned about that while being in your mind.
I told you about that.
This is not a personal secret, so it was not part of the deal.
No, I told you like days ago.
Yeah, but I thought you were not talking literally, but it's like really the creature.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So what happens when these two gods smash?
Well,
And us being so close.
do we really want to turn the flames of hatred upon this brown creature of disobedience? Is that wise?
It is not wise, and we shouldn't do so. I'm very much into experimenting and seeing how the realms beneath and above us will do to our plane of existence. But this is not
This
the
is the
time.
worst idea ever, and I love it.
I say we shouldn't do that. We really shouldn't do that. But just in case. Just in case. So
Well,
I sense like I would like to peer through the veil and see like if I see any trace of our friends. Can I peer through the dimensions as well? Possibly.
I think
See,
that's
like,
appropriate for your power. Yeah, I think so. I think you're going to see down below, like in the where would be the crypts, I guess. You'll see like a couple of like vague bluish blobs, right? Down there. You'll sense them. You'll see it. You'll sense them. Maybe Logan can't see them, but you can see them.
Yes. I think our friends are down there.
Oh, well, just looking up at this thing. What does this have to do with the white milky substance?
That's an interesting bit. If you pay attention long enough from the threshold of the door, you'll see that the creature's abdomen is positioned kind of right above the altar. And every now and then there's like a little discharge, a little drop that falls and into what appears to be a basin on the altar.
Where is Isabella?
I don't know.
She is coming from your type of magic. I'm pretty sure you know a way how to get in touch with her. Can you send out your winds or something?
That's not quite how it works, but I see now what she was so interested in exploring.
Yes.
What has she gotten herself into?
Are you still just in the threshold of the door?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I don't want to get like
Yes.
super close to this thing.
Yeah.
Has it moved since we've been here?
Nope, it's quite still, actually.
Mhm. It hasn't recognized us, right? It's not like
It might be aware of you, but it's not
Yeah.
interacting with you yet.
Hmm.
okay. That's good to know. Then let's try to find something. Like, do you have any way, like something like a hunting dog could sniff at, and then we can find like Isabella with following that kind of trace. Maybe we could weave our magic together. This realm is working differently.
To try and track her down.
At a certain point, while you're having this conversation, you'll see Isabella coming up from the crypts.
Oh,
Wow.
And then when she sees you, she stops, like she's surprised. And the spider is above, overhead. And she says, "So you figured out my maze, then?"
Isabella, you constructed it?
Yes. I, too, drank of the milk-white putrescence, and I learned the secret to travel across the spans of dimensions.
And what is the milk white putrescence?
She says, I believe it is a discharge from the venom sacs of...
And what is that?
Why don't you ask her yourself? She's very talkative. And then Isabella kind of like walks toward toward you guys as if she's leaving.
Well, Isabella, you can't go. I want to stop her.
She says, "Friend, there is nothing more to be done here. Leave me be. I created this means of getting here so that I could communicate with my father, who is trapped in this realm."
Your father?
My father, yes.
How has he become trapped here?
Have you ever wondered why we are called Vergastrider?
It was a moniker. It has to do with your ability. It's not a surname.
Perhaps. And yet, it is a name that my father took, and a name that I took after him. We have always been interested in testing the boundaries, seeing how far one can truly travel. And my father figured out a way to travel to this place, and he never got back. I don't know how to get him back, but I was determined to see him again. And so when I gained the insight of the Putrescence, I began building my maze.
And the putrescence does not control you?
No. It is a gift, in fact.
It does control her, sister of the Silver Ocean, and it does control your father. But you are here also for a different person, which is Logan, because I know that he can only open the door, the gate to his inner self, when you are present. So you will stay here. And if we can, we will later help you to find your father.
She says, "I know where he is. He is down below in the crypts."
Let's go.
She says, "Oh, I should tell you that your friends, your companions are down there as well. You know, the ones that murdered Yedric, the only person who, as far as I know, can process the venom in his body and turn it into the milk white putrescence." So much for advancing humanity's understanding.
Let's go. Let's go. Logan. This is our time.
Where are you suggesting we go?
down to the crypt. Isabella can make us a passage. The brown creature of disobedience will not stop us if she is around us.
She looks up and she says, "The eight-legged she cares not for all of you."
I would like to look down her heart, which is one of my science moves.
Into Isabella's heart, or the eight-legged she's
Yes.
heart?
No. This Isabella's heart. Like first the servant, then the master. And I get a 12. And so this is the heart's sorrow. When you look into someone's heart and search for a secret, on a 10 plus, I choose 2. The secret is presented with greater context. The secret is something you could possibly know otherwise. That I don't need. The secret can easily be used to gain leverage for parlay. Yeah, the first and the third. So the secret is presented with greater context. And I gain some leverage.
She is legitimately, she built her device, which is what the maze is, to reach this dimension for the sole purpose of being reunited with her father. That's it. There's no other deeper mystery here. I will tell you though that the milk-white putrescence, her father, the spider, none of this stuff is connected. It's all just like happenstance that like her father is trapped in this place. This is where, you know, the milk-white putrescence, I guess, it comes from the spider, but the spider cares nothing of it. It's just discharge from her venom sacs.
All right.
But I'm concerned that she has made herself a keeper of this creature.
Oh, that's an interesting possibility. I wonder what Kravis would think of that. Let's cut back to the other group. So you guys are deciding to come up and sneak and grab the basin with the venom. Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Well, grab was not. I never said grab. Let's check it out and see if it's just collecting the stuff. Then it doesn't matter. But you know, before we saw like magical crystals that turned out to be a hate god. So let's see if there's stuff in the bowl.
Maybe it'll be a love god.
I don't know how to answer that. Fair enough.
Well, so Weary, what's your plan? Sounds like you're going first.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna try to be like really quiet and go up to this basin and see what it is and kind of do the tense investigative scene.
Give me a
Don't drink it.
give me a defy danger dexterity just to get up to the altar without like alerting the spiders that are now patrolling up top.
Okay, I'm good at rolling lately.
No, you're not.
Nope. Okay, well, I'm due for a success, right?
You are.
Let's see, roll 2d6. 13, there we go, the most success almost.
Nice. It's a good roll. I'm going to let you get there and take a quick glance at what you see. First of all, though, tell me how you like manage. I want to see like on screen how you manage to like avoid detection by the spiders.
We come out of the crypts, and I think we're just really quiet. And I think at one point Kravis is about to step on like a stone that is about to like shift or make a noise or whatever. And I do the whole like stop point and like we move around it, and it's like the tense scene in the temple kind of thing, and then we get to the basin.
Nice. Everybody in the other dimension, you will see these vague blue shapes moving up out of the crypt and carefully making their way up to the altar space. They're vague, they're blue. They're just like little like weird blobs on a radar that just kind of like are carefully moving up to the altar space, just so you know. What you see inside the bowl It's a clay bowl. It's glazed on the inside, and there is a thin, probably less than, I don't know, probably about a centimeter deep, very thin, just a thin collection of like clear liquid. It's not the milk white liquid. It's like a clear liquid.
It's not the putrescence stuff or
No,
whatever.
No.
It's something else.
Well, and out of character, Isabella kind of like hinted to the other, didn't hint, she said to the other two that like Yedric processed it in his body to turn it into this putrescence.
Right.
So he was the guy with the key. The key was used to process the venom into something.
Yeah, the venom is really like the key in a way, right? Like this is all like all this stuff might be somewhat unknown to the church. This is all like kind of Yedric was one of the heretics, but like what the nature of what he was doing is unclear. It was unclear to the church. So you guys have discovered something kind of new.
Yeah, maybe does Kravis want to try to figure out what it is? This is your temple where all the good stuff is. Where spiders definitely don't come because there's evil here.
You're going to be harping on that all day. Look, do you have?
I just need to know if you put any of it in your mouth. That's it.
No, but we want to know. Cinnamon. I'm going to say, hey, do you have any kind of like bottles or anything like that? Any vials? Collect some of this. I know you've got substances that you've been carrying that you were going to use to poison the food of somebody else. Maybe you have an extra.
Yeah, you can use it. Yeah, if you use one of your poisons, you can say you have an empty bottle from.
Yeah, sure. I think we did that. So yeah.
Can I ask you to gather some of that stuff?
Yeah.
Just be real careful.
Yeah, I don't want to like trip and lick it or anything.
On your
Tastes
gear,
like candy.
On your gear, you're going to list that as Malgoliant's venom. I will type that here.
Okay, yeah. Like, oh. Cool.
And then I think we got to get, I think we leave here and we're going to have to figure out how to seal this place up.
Yeah, like break the, well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe we can cause a collapse or something like that.
Yeah, we can get Thunderchild to help us with that and we'll do it.
Yeah. Or maybe you can just like take out your sword and be like random arc lightning. No?
Yeah, I haven't learned that particular trick of this sword yet.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you're not aware of that yet.
Yeah.
If the spiders made their move, you might get a chance, but
you probably don't want to draw your sword. That'll definitely piss all the spiders off.
Yeah, probably.
So back in the other dimension. Let's cut. Isabella is, you will learn this about her, right? The sort of full story here, Archon, is that she knows that her father is trapped in this dimension, and she has crafted this maze using this insight from the putrescence. This maze that like is essentially a portal, right? And the portal is, but it's a sort of, but the magic is a narrative based magic, right? And the story she's created is the story of her father traveling in a boat across the vast silvery sea, right? And so her father is here. He's probably trapped. He's just trapped. It might be some sort of psychological thing. It might be some sort of like dream state or something, but he can't leave. Like he's just kind of here. And she's here, and she basically just communicates with him and comforts him, and just maintains that bond basically as best she can. That's all. She has no other. I mean, obviously, she had like an academic interest in like creating the portal, right? But like, and all that. But as far as like her motives, that's the deal. The eight-legged she, the gigantic spider up above, that is a different story, and it's a little unclear what's happening, except that there's some kind of energy being like pumped into it, right? That's what you can tell just by kind of paying attention.
And well, they are connected, these two elements, by her and others drinking the milk.
Maybe. I think I possibly it could just be a this Yedric character discovered the venom and then discovered something about it when he put it in his body, or maybe there's other people who've done it in the past. It's just a biological discharge from the spider. I don't think the spider is aware of it or even cares. So,
yeah, well, it brings something from one dimension to the other. So at least for academic purposes, this is of interest.
oh yeah, oh sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, indeed, yeah. And so we might solve one puzzle and learn about the other. And, Logan, are you okay with researching where Isabella's father is? And if we can free him? Because I think the brown creature of disobedience is out of our order.
Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering about, like, I'm just in my head, like, thinking about what's going on with Isabella, how I can help her, how I can either get her father out of here or, you know, figure out some way of doing that. And I think, like, in my own mind, like, I've convinced myself that, like, I'm not going to be able to do this unless I turn the key that is whatever happens to be, like, the key of the milk white putrescence.
You have a bottle of the refined venom, the putrescence itself, right? Who has that bottle?
I have
Archon.
that, yes.
Archon has it.
And after I learned about that there's not such a strong connection to the keepers, I could imagine that one of us drinks it.
I think
I would
Logan
just-
might be the.
Logan might be the
well,
right.
I think you make a case for either of you, but yeah. But Logan has
Logan-
plus one forward, so.
I don't want. Logan, I don't want to drink this because I don't know how my mind and my kind of magic reacts to this milk. However, thanks to Isabella, we know what she is able to do after drinking this. So this might be also of interest for you to resist the storm.
What is Isabella, like, thinking about all this as I'm, like, ruminating over, like, I need to help her?
Are you saying this all out loud, or?
Yeah, like, I'm kind of, like, suggesting, like, I'm like, I need to, like, you're right. We need to help your father. If he's trapped here, we need to get him out.
She says, do you think there's a way of getting him out? Surely I would have deduced how by now.
Well, perhaps we need the two of us to think together.
Yes. And what you are missing, the two of you, this is not about deduction. We are in the spirit world here. In a certain spirit world, the one of the brown creature of disobedience. And if we can connect the two spheres, this sphere and the sphere of the mortals, this might be a way to connect the two realities and find your father in between. I want to send out my spirits to see if I can get a touch, like not a physical one as I usually need, but a touch with our fellows in the other dimension. And then we have a connection. And if you drink the milk of white putrescence,
The milk white putrescence, yeah. It's not a milk.
We have
it's a putrescence.
it's a putrescence. Then we have the perfect storm. But then we would have the perfect storm. Two dimensions. The logical mind of your magic and the spirits of mine.
Are you suggesting that all three of us drink of the milk white putrescence to deduce what we need to do to get my father out of here? Is it fate that you are both here right now at this moment in time?
It is, but I won't drink. I will just share your mind while you drink it.
So I think this is my plan. And I think that Archon needs to traverse the maze again so that he is in the middle of the maze while the two of us are doing something on this side. And that will get her father unstuck.
Okay, I'm into that. I think that's great. Do you want to turn the key here?
Yes, I think I want to turn the key, and I have an idea on how fictionally it might be different than drinking the bottle.
Okay, what would it be?
So you described Pate, the putrescence came out of his mouth.
Yes, that's right.
And I think that there is like, I think there's a connection here where I need the very specific kind of insight that Isabella had herself. And I think it's kind of like, it's all of the, it's like all of the above. Like it is affection. It is like this need. It is a desire for knowledge. It is a desire for her that like drives me forward to like embrace her and kiss her. And I think that the putrescence like enters my mouth.
Ooh, I love it. That's good. You're going to roll plus wisdom plus 1.
Okay. See how this goes. 8, 9.
9. Possibly aid from Archon, since you are kind of helping with this. You're being like a sort of tuning fork right now, Archon. If you want to, I think you guys have sufficiently justified that roll. If you want to make that roll, Archon,
I would like to, yes.
I think just a wisdom roll would be great from you.
So 5 plus 2 is just 7.
That bumps you up to a 10, though. You hold 2. You may spend the hold at any time to invoke the power of the key. That's it. So basically, you just kind of tell me what kind of result you want. You've already kind of described the means here.
So my understanding of the milk white putrescence is it gives very, very deep insight and understanding. And I think I would want to spend one hold to transport all of us. Like Archon will be in the maze, like making his own way back, but me and Isabella and her father will transport back into the physical realm.
I think I love that. I think what's going to happen here is I think that Archon's sort of like psychism will be almost like a beacon that will allow her father, or at least what appears to be like the shade of her father, to come up from the crypt and silently follow you, right? And the insight you're going to get from the milk white putrescence is our whole metaphor here is like sailing on a silvery sea, right? And I think the reason why he got stuck here is because he ran into the equivalent of a storm at some point on his journey, and his little boat got lost or smashed. And so because you are a storm mage, I think what you have to do to guide him back is you have to change the narrative about the storm, right? And in doing so, you have to give some kind of particular insight about the nature of storms that helps you change the narrative and lead him back out the other way of the maze. Does that sound good?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh man, you got to be his lighthouse.
Indeed. We're going to get to
Wow.
that. I want to cut to the other group and find out. So you guys are, you have managed to acquire some of the venom. That's awesome. What is your next move here?
I had a thought. Yeah, I had a thought though. What if all these temples that your people made have like a fail safe in them that like collapse that like one of you guys can go in and collapse it and stuff if it gets desecrated by like evil, like when spiders show up. And there's like a
keystone or something?
Yeah, a keystone or a procedure or something like that only you guys know about to collapse the tunnel. And then that would make a lot of like tension because as they're trying to also get the father out, we're also moving to try to collapse the temple.
I will say that it seems like an extreme move if it's just a large spider infestation up on the ceiling, because you guys don't know the full story, right?
Right.
Well, but otherwise there's like this stuff, this ichor coming down that I don't think Kravis would ever want someone.
That's a good point too. Yeah,
away.
that's a good
Yeah,
point.
I
too.
actually do think if there is a possibility of that, I would take this place down.
Okay.
I'm not
let's take-
subtle.
Let's take a quick 2 or 3 minute break and we'll come back. Okay.
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 Nice call with the Keystone idea.
And I thought that would be fun because at the same time that they're trying to like free this guy, right, we're also scrambling to collapse the whole thing, and nobody knows what each other are doing.
Very nice.
Especially for like a finale.
Absolutely. I'll send you later this week, Fraser. I've been redoing some of the Veil playbooks to kind of trying to find a medium between things being set and having the questions from the playbooks that you have in the original ones. Kind of trying to find a thing that kind of falls between the two. I don't know if I'm going to succeed, but I'll show you what I've got later on this week.
Sure. Yeah, and like I'm making the new playbooks for Cascade kind of like that, where it's more about like it's more about doing moves that are emergent, hitting on the same kind of themes, as opposed to having them sort of like set in stone at the beginning. All going towards kind of lessening the cognitive load at the beginning, which is pretty.
See,
crazy.
I actually really like that. It's the thing, Sherry and I dig the way that each playbook gets an element of the world and establishes it. And I think that's it's super smart. I know, but Rich hates cognitive load. Period. He would like to just get rolling. So it was him. So I think it's very cool. But as you've said before, it's a little harder at a one shot.
Yeah, one shot was difficult. Like when I was at Breakout Con, we still had like a great session, but we definitely had a lot less fiction going with it, which was a little disappointing. But both of the sessions were good, even with Hamish and Dana were playing with me, and Brand Robbins actually too. So it was a really good table. And then at the end, they were all
table.
Yeah, at the end they were all like, "Hey, if you wanted to make this more one-shot friendly, this is what I would do," kind of thing. And then I took that under advisement.
Brand Robbins is one of the very few people I played in person with from your side of the ocean. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Mo and Brian.
I watched Marissa Kelly do Urban Shadows as a one-shot last year at Origins. And that kind of showed me what you could do at the table. And so, I mean, I do think there's room to have some of those questions out there to establish some of the fiction beforehand. Yeah.
I bet you Urban Shadows is probably the more, like the most similar PBTA game for that kind of stuff. Like
for establishing stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard similar things about people finding it challenging to do the one shot with it.
All right. So a couple of points here. So let's say, I'm into the idea of there being like a keystone that will collapse the temple. No big deal. Finding it, I think, is one thing. Knocking it out is another thing. And doing so presumably under taking fire from the spiders, right? So that's all like a thing, right? That's in play here. And in fact, just to make it particularly salient, I think I'm going to say that like the keystone, of course, is in the main sept, and of course it's on the ceiling, so that you have to kind of get up there and chip, chunk, take it down, right? But no problem for a Templar.
I'll just toss them up there. Like
we can't hear you, Lowell.
I tell him where it is. Say,
indeed.
If this is the model temple it's going to be up there. You're going to have to climb up there and knock that out. And then we've got just a couple minutes to get out of here.
And so be thinking about that. As far as the Archon, now that you've kind of like opened yourself up to the dimensions in an attempt to reach Vicente Verga Strider, and presumably you've been trying to re-establish contact with Weary and Kravis, you are because you're being a psychic beacon right now, I think you get a little voice in your head that says, it's a woman's voice, a very like kind of, imagine like just kind of like a husky, like woman's voice. What was her name on Moonlight? That actress, Catherine, whatever her name is. Catherine, I can't remember. Anyway, Sybil Shepherd, like kind of a Sybil Shepherdy, kind of husky Sybil Shepherdy voice, and she says, "I am very nearly ready to re-enter the world after some centuries of rebuilding my strength. I have so much to teach you. The gods are fools for commanding me to stay out of your world. I intend to re-enter it and bring you my vast accumulated knowledge to elevate you, to make you understand the wisdom of the eight-legged she. Will you, Archon Megalon, be my avatar, my vessel? Who can say? And yet I know that in your deepest heart, it is an intriguing prospect to you, is it not?"
Yes, if you can bring fear to me, I would be your vessel.
I don't think that's going to be difficult to arrange.
Then let it happen.
Very well. And she says at that point, she says, when this is all over, when your friends have done whatever it is they're going to do, you will return and you will remain with me. You will learn at my knees, as it were. You will come to understand the secrets of life itself. Do you agree to this?
I already know that you will learn as much from me as a mortal being as I can learn from you. Because my people know already that we are all equal in this world. But bringing us together will make us as strong as the gods themselves.
I like the way you think, Archon Megalon. Well, and so the idea here is that you will essentially stay in the temple, right?
Yes.
For a time, right? And so now we have to figure out how we're going to stick the landing here on the session. We've got 15 minutes left. Because you've spent that hold, and you'll keep that hold because you've got the milk white putrescence in you, Logan. You can keep it for the future. But because you spent that hold, you will be able to guide her father out of the maze and back into the physical realm. I will tell you that to get back to your dimension, you're going to, as you go back to the maze, at the entrance of the maze, you will see a little boat that wasn't there before, a little boat smashed up against the stone wall. And there's a coiled silvery rope or a silver cord in the base of the boat that's kind of extended and working its way through the maze. And if you just follow it, that's how you can all get back. But to get him back, you've got to teach him about the storm. So how does that go?
So, am I just telling the story with a twist on the storm portion?
Yeah, you're just making him understand like how to navigate the storm, essentially. Yeah.
Right.
You're changing. You're retconning his journey,
right?
Essentially.
And I think that the whole key is you can't do it alone. You need help.
Okay.
That's what his daughter taught me, and that's what I'm teaching him.
Excellent. I love it. And you guys can return back to the other dimension as you wish. As far as Kravis and Weary goes, are you guys going to attempt this? Are you going to attempt to climb up and remove the keystone?
Yeah, I was
to bring the temple
thinking.
down?
I was thinking of making a case for a trap expert to like disarm the trap is to use the keystone or whatever.
I think that's perfect. I think the more important thing is getting up there so the spiders don't notice you, right? I think that's the real moving part here, as far as the role goes.
And there's me down below going, whispering just loud enough that he knows you don't want to fuck this up.
It's not the spiders you should be worried about.
Great.
So what I think would be interesting here is just to kind of fast forward a little bit. If you're staying in with the spider archon, I think it's an open question of whether you return to the physical realm or not, right? Like if Isabella comes back, if her father comes back, if Logan comes back, and they all find, maybe they find like, Weary and Kravis like in the middle of their plan or whatever, and you don't come back, I think that's an interesting dramatic situation because it's like you stayed, right? Because we know that the temple, physically speaking, is the same in both dimensions, right?
I stay. And I will come back, but I will do so at a later point in time. Right now,
Indeed.
I have to stay. But fear not, friends. Fear is coming to me now and will not stay with you and your realm for a while. But when I come back, I bring fear with me.
Okay.
Well, so maybe Logan and Isabella, you know that, but I don't think Kravis and Weary do. I think what's going to happen is, if you're cool with this, Logan, I think it's going to be like you coming out with Isabella and her father, and you kind of realize at a certain point that Archon didn't come with you, right? And so I guess my question is like, how do you respond to that?
I think I was still like psychically connected with him for like at least part of the conversation he had with the eight-legged she. And so it's just like, I know, but I'm not going to tell anyone else.
Nice. Good. So you're keeping that to yourself then?
Yeah.
Good. I like that. That's a good wizardly academic approach, I think, to just keep that information to yourself and not tell everybody else. It's a good move.
It'd be interesting if fear actually didn't, like if fear dissipated in the world until Archon actually came back, though. That would be, if there was just no fear until he came back at all, that'd be neat.
Yeah.
We shall see. So I guess then the plan is you're going to climb up. Do you have tools to do that, first of all? And then
let's see.
Just some kind of like climbing spikes or something would be fine.
No, but I could like Legolas it and just shoot some arrows and then use those to jump up.
Every bit of extra complication makes the failure worse. So,
right. or you could just use your arrows like climbing spikes.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it might use up some of your ammunition.
You have to mark your ammo down, I think. But yeah, otherwise,
sure, I'll do that. That sounds cool. So 3 ammo to 2 ammo.
And I am going to get myself in a position to run more to that if he draws attention, as David has suggested, I'm going to draw the blade
to get their attention back.
Try to run else the other way to draw them to me rather than to Weary.
I love it. Weary, let's give it a dex roll, see how it goes.
Okay.
I am whispering to him though.
Actually, Weary, I want a con roll to get the wall first, and then a dex roll to safely remove the stone.
Con is 0.
Point of order for dungeon world, climbing is always con.
Oh,
so.
I got the worst roll you could possibly get. Literally.
Well, all right, let's play this out. So I think Logan, I think you're maybe coming on scene like as this is happening. Okay, so here's what's going on. Maybe you even see Kravis like using the sword for the first time, right? Weary, you are trying to climb, and I think you just kind of like miss, like you intend to like stick in a certain place and you miss, and you kind of like just tumble down. You take a d6 damage as you hit the ground. Armor counts though. You slam down to the ground. The spiders are on your asses, like they are climbing down either side of the main sept wall. They're coming, Kravis. What do you do?
I run away from Weary and draw the blade out and pull them to me so he can get out of here.
Okay, awesome. So, defy danger, charisma.
Can I rolled a 1 for damage and I have armor, so I'm good at rolling low.
So that's a 9 for defy danger.
Okay, awesome. It's going to work, but there's going to be a complication, of course. What does it look like when you draw the sword?
Well, it comes out, and I have never seen it, and it's kind of dimly lit in here, and suddenly it's electric blue light flashing, and anything that's around that's metal is probably getting a little bit of that sort of crackle from that, and I'm like, whoa, okay, and getting it set, and I am waving it so that there's that sort of after pattern of fireworks to draw it over here to me.
I love it. I think you've got, I think that the number of spiders that you're kind of like maybe having to cope with here is, we'll say 6 in total. Logan, you are kind of like running up into the room just as this is happening. Maybe your eyes are agape as you see, maybe Isabella too. Our eyes are agape as you see the crackle of the sword, of the magic that you bestowed upon it. And we see Weary down on the ground, like on his back, like in the center of the sept. The spiders are coming down, and I think it begins to arc. I think it begins to chain, and it just begins to chain and hit random targets. Basically, the way this goes is every bolt that arcs out, you get basically, see, 5, there'll be 5 chains. The first one does a d10, the second one does a d8, the third does a d6, the fourth does a d4, and the fifth one does a single point of damage. Armor does not count on any of these. The targets, however, are random. And so we have 6 spiders, Logan. We have 6 spiders, Logan, Isabella. Weary, and Kravis. That's perfect. Roll a d10. First bolt.
Snap, yeah.
Oh,
I like that. This could be like the Guardians of the Galaxy moment of the film, where like time slows down and Chain of Fools starts playing, and then the lightning starts going.
Chain of Fools. Oh my god.
First one, the D10 is a 5.
A 5. That's a spider. Describe the lightning blasting a spider away.
So this is the point at which I'm actually kind of like, wow, this is going to work. And essentially, one of them that's coming up on me gets hit by that as it right as it comes out of the sheath.
Nice. Roll the next one. Second roll. This is the D8 bolt.
Is a 10, so that one hits me.
It does indeed.
That's like the D8.
That's the D8. No armor.
It's D8. Okay, so by the way, at that point, since I'm way low on hit points, and got a couple debilities, that's the point at which I'm activating Unrelenting.
Good. Okay, good. What is your hit points right now?
Yeah, well, my hit points are 6, and I have 2 debilities. So, yeah, I think that's the point at which I have to push myself to keep going. But let's resolve the rest of those lightning bolts.
Don't get a 10 again.
D6 is another 5. There's another spider.
The blast the spider. Yeah.
Oh, so
I think if it hits a spider, the spider's out of the action.
Oh, so that was just an anomaly.
Okay, good.
Well, can I make a suggestion? Maybe that hits the capstone thing then. Like if the spider's gone, maybe it hits the spider and then it hits.
No, there's 6 of them.
There's tons of spiders. Yeah.
There are 6.
Yeah, but 5 is gone, right?
No.
I got a 1, so that's another spider, and then here's the 1 point. It's a 2.
Okay, so you knocked out in total 4 of the spiders, and there are 2 spiders coming at you. Logan, there are 2 spiders. What do you do? And the spiders are just basically converging on Weary, who's on the ground right now.
No, can I say? I mean, the fiction is that this sword draws their attention.
Oh, that's true. You did get that, so they are coming towards you. Right.
Yeah, thank you.
In any case, Logan, these 2 spiders are coming towards Kravis.
Yeah, I will. I'll look at Isabella and see if she is thinking what I'm thinking, and we'll do a combined magical effect.
Okay, which is?
We'll both begin this wind dance where we're going to create a whirlwind around Kravis, so that they will just the spiders will be brought up into it, and he will essentially be in the eye of the storm and be unaffected.
Okay, nice. I love it. I'll give you a +1 to the roll with her. So,
Okay.
As if she were like a hireling.
Okay. So I've got 10, 11. Yeah, 11.
Okay, awesome. That'll safely dispatch the spiders. Just describe it.
Yeah.
And I'll give you your choice on the thing, too.
Yeah, so I have to choose one. It just won't last long.
Okay, awesome. Just give me the fiction on there, and then we're going to go straight to epilogues.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so he's wielding the sword, and the spiders are coming on, and the 2 of them leap, and just as they leap, and right as they're about to collide with him, they get diverted right around him, and then he sees them both in a blur, moving around him, and then as it accelerates, it just throws them both up into the ceiling, and they just splatter against the ceiling.
Nice. Let's go straight to epilogues. We can advance in time as much as you guys wish. You have narrative control over the epilogue. If you want to collapse the temple, fine. If you want to do whatever, fine. I just want to see at the end here in our movie version of this story, what do we see your character doing? What's going on? Whoever has an idea first.
I would like to follow up on what Weary suggested, and there is the action montage of us getting out of the temple as one of the stray lightning bolts had hit the keystone, and we're running out, and we're kind of collapsing down that mountainside, even as that sort of of the smoke comes through, and we all kind of tumble. I am in very bad shape, but I'll kind of get up, and there's one of the roadside boxes that we've seen to mark the path to the temple. And probably the last thing that I will note is I'm kind of getting up is sort of a freshly etched mark of my order, suggesting that guy, that elf saint, had been here, and that I've just missed him.
Maybe he even fed from the putrescence earlier or something. Who knows? Depending on when he got here.
Yes.
I'd like to add just a little coda to that, sort of out of your perception thing.
You muted.
Oh, yeah.
Archon Malgoliant will the entire temple won't collapse. Malgolian will keep part of the ceiling intact and create a little alcove for the 2 of you if you wish it. So essentially, you're just there with rubble behind you in this space with her. So with that in mind, does that inform your epilogue at all?
Yes. There is that bit, later on when I look around and I say, "Where's Archon?"
Indeed, right.
Yeah. I will have a moment of genuine regret that he is
you're mourning him. You think he's dead, right?
Yeah. He is a companion. He's a fellow. He fought with us against the awfulness.
Indeed. Well, so Archon, what about your epilogue?
Yeah, 2 things. One is that in this alcove, exactly there was a mosaic of the valley. And it rearranges. The stones are rearranging and showing a picture of Archon, who is sitting on a throne and waiting. And behind him, you can see 8 legs coming behind him from the throne.
Nice.
That's one thing. The other thing is, from the collapsing temple, a brown avalanche is going down the valley and is rolling its way down
Well, actually, I have
in
a
the
thought
direction
for that. I remember that. I remember that visual from last time. That's a thing specifically related to the keeper visions, which I'm not going to give you control over in the fiction. But it is a thing, and I think it's more of a metaphor of like
It is.
a metaphor of like her influence rolling down from them.
Exactly. Just a metaphor.
Not a literal avalanche for now. I love it though. That's great. What about you, Logan? Let's do Weary first. Weary, what about your epilogue?
I like the Weary's epilogue maybe to be a similar theme this episode of the whole like you need other people thing, and I think that's like what Weary grew to learn this time too. Like there was multiple times where he would have definitely bit the dust if there wasn't other people around, and I think that's a new experience for him. Like I think this is maybe his first mission alone kind of thing. And before we hit on that, him being like, you know, forgive me because I'm being good kind of thing. So I think there's like a moment after we're running away from the temple collapsing and everything, when Kravis sort of just like collapses, and there's a moment or a scene where Weary could there's like a clear image where he could just like walk away with his mission complete, but instead he like grabs Kravis and like helps him up, and we go and like get him treated kind of thing. And then the last scene for him is he's in the church and confessing again, like to being good, and that's where it goes.
I love it. Logan, what about you?
I think that after like Kravis is like, you know, ready to travel, I send him and Weary ahead. I want to like check out a few more things, and I will be like behind them. But I think like I'm checking in on like Isabella and making sure like she's okay now, and that her father he was dead. I'm assuming that was his.
No, he's alive. Yeah,
oh, he's alive.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm checking on the two of them and making sure like they're okay, and like contacting the order, the mage's order, and informing them of more or less what happened here. And I go to the tavern, in Frostdale, and like just kind of like observe everyone. I watch the old men playing dice. They don't seem as interested in statistics anymore.
Yeah, it fades. Yeah.
I watch Pate, and he seems to just be completely engrossed and satisfied with creating torches.
Yes. It's very good.
And he's baffled by the machinery of the inn,
Which eventually falls into disrepair.
Which eventually starts to break down. But I think that I don't think that anyone could have built it, but I think that Isabella, because she still lives here, she can still maintain it, and I think she does for the people. It is a wonder that can be maintained, but nobody knows how it was built. And I think I help her with that a little bit. And I have like a genuine moment where I'm considering just staying in this town with her and keeping this tavern maintainable.
Nice. Good.
And I'll just leave it kind of ambiguous if I decide to leave or not.
All right. I love it. Let's do our end of session real quickly, and then we'll do just a few minutes of feedback. I feel like everybody hit flags. I felt like there's a lot of flag hitting going on. So let's just mark XP on that. It felt good. Everybody gets an XP there. Let's look at your alignment statements. I feel like we've probably hit them all based off what I know about them. Kravis, yours might be the trickiest.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but that's cool. I've hit it all the other sessions, so I'm cool.
Yeah. Archon, you definitely hit yours. Mark an XP. Logan, you certainly hit yours. Mark an XP. And Weary, what is yours?
Go into danger without a plan.
Yeah, you mostly did that. Go ahead and mark an XP.
Mostly failing at it.
Maybe going in with a bad plan was we'll interpret it that way.
Yeah.
And then let's go into, did we learn something new and important about the world? You bet, mark an XP. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy? Sure, mark an XP. Being the temple and the spiders, I think. Did we loot a memorable treasure? Yeah, you got some of Mongolian's venom, mark an XP.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So pretty good. Everyone should have picked up 5 there, except for Kravis, who got 4, which is still not bad considering all your failed rolls.
Yeah, I'm almost at level 4 because I succeeded once or something. Yeah, we are the failing duo.
If you guys want, we're already past time, but if you guys want to just do if we want to do a few minutes of feedback, I'll just start by saying I was quite pleased with how that all shook out. I was very happy with our sort of staying in this figurative metaphorical space for a little while. I thought that was really fun, and it had the feeling of a good sort of the trappings of an OSR-ish, old schoolish kind of vibe, but with some sort of I don't know. I loved it. That was great. That's my feedback. You all did a great job.
I'd only played Dungeon World in a one shot, which was interesting, but kind of linear. And then Rich used it for doing Blue Rose, which is very different, and ended up being more combat. You had said before this that playing this would blow my mind. That your Dungeon World would blow my mind, and yeah, absolutely, 110%. Demonstrated the power of Dungeon World. Super fun. There are moments, especially like the bit with the journey and the giant bones and that whole field at the beginning. The callbacks to the machinery. There's so much really good stuff in this. Great players, great game. Really, really dynamite. That's all I can say.
Awesome. Thank you. And I agree.
Yeah, every time we play a session, I'm always like, this could be PSP. Every time we do a series, I always message you. I'm like, that would be a good PSP.
I actually think this one would be a really great PSP, because of the there were so many good party dynamics in this one. There was lots of great party chatter and party dynamics, which I think would be fun in that format. This last session was a little bit more dungeon crawly, but not by much. I mean, just kind of it almost felt more like a final boss room or something, in the overall story. So, I tend to agree.
Yeah, and I think we were unwittingly hitting a lot of good story beats. Whenever tension really ramped up, there would be a funny bit with me making fun of Weary or some joke. And then we'd get back to serious and stuff. So yeah, in the movie of this, everything just really made a lot of sense, and there was a lot of cool scenes. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite sessions or series.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I thought the pacing was good. I did like that. I liked the sort of TikTok of humorous bits mixed with weird supernatural bits mixed with there's a sort of especially in the first 3 sessions, or really session 2 and 3, there was that undercurrent of mystery as well. I was really happy with kind of all that stuff. So.
I would like to say that if you can hear me, because the rain is really strong in my back.
Yeah, I can hear you.
It was such a perfect moment for him when the thunderstorm hit me after our dialogue. I decided to stay.
Is it right when Kravis drew the sword? That's what I want to know.
Wow! Yes. Oh, it's getting stronger and stronger. That's a tropical rain. Yes, it is. And so now I really, really admire how you weave preparation and improvisation together to such a story. And I think everybody contributed in such a beautiful way that this is a stunningly good session. I have to, the whole campaign. And I'm a bit sad that I won't hunt the keepers for a while anymore, but yeah.
You might be one, though. A future group might be killing Archon at some point. We shall see.
Who knows? Indeed, yes.
That was kind of what
Give
we're
him a-
hinting at for sure. No, I'm glad you picked up on
Yes.
that. I do like that mix of extemporaneous collaborative storytelling mixed with prep. Like I love that combination. It's the space that I like to GM in because I do have ideas for what I think is happening, but I like to inform those ideas based off of particularly what I learned from you guys in the first session. But yeah, I think that mix is great. I prefer it to just a completely off the cuff extemporaneous story because I think that little bit of prep helps create some thematic consistency and some through lines. So, you know.
On the Dungeon World side, like it's, I still wonder why we do like rations and these things. This is not exactly the spirit, I would say, in which we play.
Yeah, it's I think Dungeon World is a really good rule set. I do think it's due for a refresh. I think like in particular, David and I have talked about this at length, but some of the things that we do in Dungeon World, like particularly some of the first session procedures and some of the other things that we do in our prep, I think could stand to be codified personally. And like, you know, I think there's something there. I think there's a way to make Dungeon World into to be more about party dynamics, to be more about that sort of like quasi-collaborative play. I think there's a way of doing that. There are some people who think that Dungeon World should be completely extemporaneous. I don't like that. I just think it leads to garbage stories personally. I mean, it's one thing if it's like a one shot, you know, but I think like you start getting to multiple sessions and I feel like that style of play begins to break down, which is usually why you only see that style of play in one shot story games. I think you have to have a little bit more, you got to be doing a little bit more like building things on the back end, you know, sometimes. So, but,
agree. Yeah. Getting
cool.
your stuff codified.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a great session. This is like, I mean, this is how we do it. We do a podcast about this, Jason and I, and he is the GM and I'm the player until recently. And we've built a lot of trust between the two of us. And I know that Lowell is a great player, so it was really easy to like trust him with all kinds of stuff. And I know that Fraser is a great player, and it was really easy to trust him. And then I know from playing with Garrett that he's great, so it was easy to trust him. The most interesting thing to me was how Garrett was playing the Archon, or playing Archon the Scion. Took me a while to figure out, and when I finally kind of got in the right headspace, like I was like, okay, I think we can. Like it took to this session before I was like, all right, I get it. And I thought that the final scene was like really cool.
Yeah, it took me a minute too, and I think the reason why is because I have a really, really specific 2E version of what a Scion, or it's called a Scion Assist in 2E, but I know, like, to me, it's a certain thing, right? And so the way Garrett was playing it was, it took me a minute to put my hands around it. I think I was pretty well into it though after the first session. Like I got a good handle on it. I began to interpret it more as like more like a druid, like the idea of druids contacting spirits of the earth, right, and communicating with spirits of the earth. Like, so that was something that I kind of clinged on to as a sort of touchstone for how to perceive Garrett's character. But I'm with you on that. Like, it did take me a minute because it was not within the trope, right, for me.
But that's what like made this series so like, this will be a series that I'll remember as very unique.
I believe that. Yeah, I do believe that we got a lot of unexpected texture in the story. I think a lot of that. I think that unexpected texture came from two places, basically. I think the first place was definitely the way Garrett was playing a Scion, like adding this sort of like deeper level, this deeper like examination of what's going on. And then the other place was the back and forth of the basic party dynamic, which is some of us want to explore dangerous, weird things, and some of us are here to do a job and make sure those dangerous, weird things do not get out into the world. And that back and forth, I think those two things that gave the whole series a richness and a texture that I think was really great. Like, I really enjoyed. So.
Yeah, that was some next level. That was awesome.
Yeah. It was super fun. Well, I don't have anything else. I'm gonna let you guys go, but because we're about to go on a call, right, Fraser? Is that what's happening in 20 minutes? That's what I've been led to believe. All right, cool. So I'm gonna go grab some lunch before that. But super fun. Thanks again, guys. I'm gonna stop.